In roughly 30 hours from right now, we will know who the next member of the Utah Jazz will be. As it is Christmas Eve for Jazz fans, the 2026 NBA draft will be tomorrow night beginning at 6 o'clock. And you can hear all the action right here on ESPN 700. Let me let you know right off the top that if you're looking to hang out with fellow Jazz fans and have a good time for the NBA draft, the Engine Room is the place to be tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And if you want to get super weird on a Tuesday, join us starting at 2 o'clock at the Engine Room for this radio show. But starting at 6 o'clock, the legend, Gordy Chiesa, Richard Smitty Smith, spent 40 years with Utah Jazz in the front office, making decisions such as the Jazz will make tomorrow night, will join us. And, of course, Sean O'Connell, the great OC, will stop by as well. So that's going to start at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Really excited to anchor our 2026 NBA draft coverage here on ESPN 700. You'll have the best local draft coverage. That won't be close. I can tell you that much right now. I think it's going to be Darren Peterson. All the intel out there is that Washington is going to keep the pick and expected to draft BYU's A.J. DeBonsa with the number 1 overall pick. A.J.'s been doing a lot of media rounds. In case you missed it, Jake Fisher is reporting that Utah, namely the Utah Jazz, not the state, that would be weird, but the Utah Jazz met with Darren Peterson over the weekend. That's according to Jake Fisher. I cannot corroborate that, but that's a good sign for Jazz fans wondering whether or not the decision just to visit Washington and work out for Washington was a sign that he was not interested in playing here. It doesn't matter. The Jazz have the number 2 overall pick. The latest on the Walker Kessler conversations with Utah Jazz. As free agency nearly upon us, the offseason in pro basketball upon us, Trae Young is going back to Washington on a 4-year, $200 million deal. After winning a national championship, Dusty May is leaving Michigan. He's going to be the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Quite a path for Dusty May. He was at Florida Atlantic 3 years ago. Now he's coaching Cooper Flagg in Dallas after a great 2-year stint at the University of Michigan. So a lot to do. World Cup going on. Lionel Messi is now your all-time World Cup leading goal scorer, passing Miroslav Klose. 14 goals, 17, 18, I should say, today. Kylian Mbappe is on 14. He's about to play. This record will belong to him someday, but Lionel Messi in Argentina beating Austria 2-0. The U.S. men's national team looks like they're going to win their group, and the pathway ahead might be very manageable, at least up until the quarterfinals. Give you the latest on the World Cup on the program today. A seismic trade in the NHL. The Tkachuk brothers reunited. Talk some offseason hockey in addition to that. So a lot to do on the show. Giannis Antetokounmpo looks like he is on the move to either Boston or Miami. For the Jazz, it's good news if he just stays out east. The West is hard enough. Wyndham Clark did not break any lockers, but he did have an excellent weekend, winning his second U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills Golf Course. We're going to talk some U.S. Open on the show. Zach Blair, a local golfer, made the cut and played the weekend, so good for Zach. So do a little golf on the show as well. Busy Monday show. Happy Monday to you. Hopefully you're off to a good start to that work week and having an excellent day. Our first guest will be John Wright to talk some golf, talk some U.S. Open, some Wyndham Clark, some Zach Blair, look ahead to the rest of the calendar in the world of the PGA Tour. Voice of the Utah Jazz, Craig Bolerjack, will join us on the eve of the NBA draft. Great day to have our friend Bobby Marks on the show. I know Jazz fans were mad at Bobby once upon a time because he hurt your feelings. Very smart front office guy. Spent a number of years in the NBA. Now is with ESPN as their front office insider. He'll join us too. And then Wes Ruff, longtime local sports broadcaster Wes Ruff, who had his last broadcast last night. Going to bring Wes in the studio. We'll just have some fun. He's a big golf guy like I am, but we'll talk some Jazz basketball. We'll talk some Utah football, some BYU football. Just have a good time with Wes live in studio today. Starting at 4 o'clock. So, John Wright, Craig Bolerjack, Bobby Marks, Wesley Ruff, me, Spence Checketts, all of you, the great listeners, hello. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. That guy got elevated over the weekend. Porter Larson spent some time in the great outdoors, did you not?
What up? What up? per usual, but yes, headed up to the homeland and spent some time up in the mountains, and it was good. Good to get out of the smoke and the heat of the city for a little bit and back to a busy week in the local sports world.
So, the newest member of the Utah Jazz tomorrow night will be who and why?
I think Darren Peterson. I know there was some smoke about Washington potentially taking him with the number 1 pick. I know there's been some smoke about the Jazz potentially liking Cameron Boozer at number 2. Of course, any which way, and I said this a month ago, any which way that 1 through 3 actually plays out, I won't be all that surprised. Outside of maybe a Boozer number 1, right? I do think the Jazz end up with a Darren Peterson. I think he is probably the best fit. He may be one of the top-end draft picks with a few more question marks than the other guys, but he works with this roster better than the others, and for that reason, I just think that the Jazz aren't going to go out of their way to move up. I don't really see any deals in the works for them to move down. I do think they ultimately take the number 2 pick, and I do believe the best player available will be one Darren Peterson.
I think that's where I've landed as well. We'll kind of go over some of the angles and get you up to date on the rumors that are out there today in preparation for the NBA draft tomorrow. Our first guest, though, will be John Wright. We'll do a little golf with John. But before John stops by, courtesy of our good friends at DraftKings, it's time now for your opening tip. Now, DraftKings Sports is live in all 50 states. Lionel Messi in Argentina, another win, 2-0 today. Lionel Messi scored both goals. He's your all-time World Cup leading scorer. DraftKings Sports is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, Utah. The whole world is watching one tournament right now. Group stage chaos, knockout drama, stoppage time, heartbreak. The DraftKings Sports app is now live in Utah. So whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you're in on every minute, every match, and every moment, all in one app. The world's biggest stage is in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers, sign up with code ESPN 700. Spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards. That's code ESPN 700. In partnership with DraftKings, the crowd is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC-registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions. Dollars that expire in 1 year. It ends on June the 28th. Terms are dkng.co/predictions promo. Would we get in trouble if I did the show naked? This is ridiculous.
Actually, I don't know about in trouble corporately, but YouTube. Actually, I mean, I can keep the crop above your waist. We're probably good. Go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Thanks for looking at. I am dripping sweat. Look, nobody cares. It's making me grumpy to start the show.
In your glass box of emotion in there?
Yeah, that's right. Bark twice if you're in. Was it Minnesota? Anyway, we will be brave and move on. Tomorrow is shaping up to be a historic day for the Utah Jazz. Okay, so the reality of the situation. And the way I analyze our local teams, the way I try to cover our local teams is with high expectations. I want Utah football to win Big 12 championships. I want Utah basketball to go to the tournament, a place it hasn't been in a decade. BYU football, BYU basketball. I want all of our local teams to excel, to win, and win trophies. RSL hasn't lifted a trophy since 2009. The Jazz have not been an NBA championship contender since 1998. They haven't been a Western Conference contender probably since then either, if we're being honest, respect to the Boozer and D-Will team that went to the Western Conference Finals. They were never going to win that series. Mitchell, Gobert, Quinn Snyder, Dennis Lindsey, great 9 years of Jazz basketball. They were not even close to winning an NBA championship. And if you tell me they won the most regular season games over the course of 5 years, I am going to lose my mind. Nobody gives a rip. What you have to look at, if you're the Utah Jazz or a Jazz fan hoping to experience what New York Knicks fans have experienced the last couple of weeks, are your Western Conference peers, namely San Antonio and Oklahoma City. So when it comes to what the Jazz have been able to develop and what they have on their roster, I think there's a lot to be excited about. I do. I didn't really feel that way until last year. when they added Ace. Ace Bailey, to me, is the most exciting prospect the Utah Jazz have had since Donovan Mitchell. All due respect to Keontae George or whoever else you want to put on the list, bottom line is that Ace falling to 5, and in my opinion, he did, and Austin Ainge not giving a rip about the narrative concerning where he wants to live and just drafting him, and then watching him develop at 6'9" with a 7'2" wingspan at only 19, that kid has a chance to be really, really special. We know that Lauri Markkanen, when he is allowed to play, which is just hilarious to say, is an all-star level 3/4 hybrid in pro basketball. You're about to get to know Jaren Jackson Jr., who at the age of 26 years old has already won a Defensive Player of the Year award and has been an all-star in his own right. A lot of consternation and concern across the marketplace about Walker Kessler. I find it much to do about nothing. I would be stunned if he is not back, not just this year, but on a long-term deal. And then at the end of that deal, Walker has a decision where he can choose where he wants to go. But that's not this year. Restricted free agency is friendly to the team and unfriendly to the player. 5 years, $140 million, regardless of what Aaron Mintz and Walker's representation believe he's worth. He's not worth any more than that. And honestly, he might not be worth that. It's a bit of an overpay in my estimation. But I like Walker. And with Victor Wembanyama in San Antonio, you need big bodies. And you probably need multiple. The Knicks didn't just have Karl Anthony Towns. They also had Mitchell Robinson. You got to find a way, if you want to win championships, to make Victor Wembanyama as uncomfortable as possible, because once he figures it out, everyone else might be playing for second for like a decade. But as great as Victor Wembanyama is, it's not just him at all. As great as Shea is, it's not just him at all. Keontae George, okay? Improved bucket getter a year ago, improved offensive player a year ago, still is a sieve on defense. If the Utah Jazz met the San Antonio Spurs in the playoffs next year, guess who would guard Keontae George? Stephon Castle. What does Keontae George look like as an NBA offensive, dynamite offensive bucket getter in a 7-game series against the Spurs, when you have to beat them 4 times in 7 tries, and he's guarded by Stephon Castle? So it's not just Wembanyama, it's not just Shea, it's Stephon Castle, it's Devin Vassell, it's Dylan Harper, it's Julian Champagnie, it's Carter Bryant, it's Keldon Johnson. I'm not including De'Aaron Fox, he doesn't deserve it after the NBA Finals. San Antonio is good and young and deep with draft capital to continue to add to their group, and the same goes for Oklahoma City. It's not just Shea. It's Jalen Williams. It's Chet Holmgren. It's Lou Dort. It's Cason Wallace. It's Alex Caruso. It's Jared McCain. It's A.J. Mitchell. It's Kenrick Williams. I don't know what's going to happen with Isaiah Hartenstein, but both these teams have elite-level superstars at the top, and then 7 or 8 guys behind that can all play at a very high level. So what the Jazz have already put on their roster should lead you to be very excited. And like I said, I do think Ace has potential to maybe develop into a very, very special player. But I don't know that Ace has the potential to be what, well, no one has what San Antonio has in Wembanyama. But even if you look around the Western Conference, like what Dallas has with Cooper Flagg, as they have made a change in their front office and their coaching staff, and they're going to try to be a little bit more front-facing about competing next year. And Shea still might be the best player in the NBA. And you cannot ignore Nikola Jokic in Denver or Luka Doncic in Los Angeles. We'll see what the Lakers do. Houston has some really, really good pieces. I don't know what's going to happen with Durant, but Alfred Şengün, right? A lot of the peers in the Western Conference, their top shelf talent, meaning their best player, is my point in this topic here, is something that I don't think the Jazz have on their roster now, but that could change tomorrow. Most of the reports are Washington has landed on AJ. Mark Spears just reported they're not trading the pick. They're going to Bonsa. And that leads to a very intriguing night about what the Jazz do at 2. I'm of the belief that they will and should draft Darren Peterson if he's there at number 2. There's a groundswell of belief that Cameron Boozer could be in the mix, and okay, we'll see. But tomorrow night is important, seismic even. Austin and Danny Ainge have a great track record of drafting and developing, and if they can add the right piece to the puzzle tomorrow night, it leads us to the next great era of competitive Jazz basketball starting next year. We'll get back to this. We've got Bowler today and then Bobby Marks. But coming up next, Wyndham Clark with a historic win, his second U.S. Open. We'll talk to John Wright, first guest on a Monday. Keep it here on ESPN 700. Porter, you're going to have to let me know if it sounds like we're now broadcasting from like the hangar of an airline because I turned the fan on.
Get that thing blowing right at you.
Can you hear it?
No, I think you're good.
All right, nice. All right, we'll get back to some NBA conversation on the eve of the NBA draft. But Wyndham Clark is your U.S. Open champ. Coming up next, the legend, John Wright, PGA State Am champ, Senior Am champ on a Monday afternoon. What's up, John? How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Just catching up on some work and getting ready to go practice here later this afternoon.
Do you have any tournaments coming up? Like
I do.
What do we got?
A big one. I have my debut in the British Senior Amateur next month in England. So
Hell yes.
I'm taking my game across the pond. I gotta be ready.
That is very cool. I have to tell you, I played in my first official Mid-Am qualifier tournament. And, John, I know you know this tournament golf's a little bit different than going out to Bonneville on a Saturday afternoon.
You know what they say, Spence? There's golf and then there's tournament golf, and they are not even closely related. They're two completely different animals. One of them is lots of fun, and the other one is very nerve-wracking and can be fun if you're playing well, but they're completely different. You cannot replicate. The only way to be ready for tournament golf is to play lots of tournament golf. There's no way to prepare for it. So I commend you for your attempt, and it'll go better next time, I promise.
Do you still get the nerves at all, or have you been doing this long enough where you just look forward to it and use those use it as energy?
I absolutely get the nerves, and anyone who tells you they don't is not being truthful. I actually seek the nerves out. The way I look at it, and I tell my nephews this and my son when he played, is if you're not nervous, then it doesn't matter. So if you're feeling a little bit of on the edge, then that means you're either in the lead or near the lead or you're close by. If you're not feeling any nerves, then you're so far out of it, it doesn't even matter. So I used to, when I was much younger, I would get upset that I was nervous, but then I learned to embrace it and as a positive that if you're nervous, then you're in the hunt and you embrace it and you enjoy it. So that's how I do it.
So we've been talking quite a bit. We'll get to the U.S. Open. We'll talk some Wyndham Clark and then some local stuff. But, you know, the game of golf has seen this incredible explosion, and it's always hard to know when a sport is going to have a moment because you never know what that moment is going to look like and when it will manifest. Obviously, COVID made a big difference. But you've been around the game of golf your whole life, and you were a very good basketball player that actually chose golf. And now a lot of really, really good athletes are choosing golf instead of other sports because of its popularity. What led you to the game early on when you were a high-level athlete that could have played other sports?
I got lucky. My parents moved from Bountiful to Bonneville Golf Course became my backyard. And I was 6 years old, and I ran on the side of the house, and I was like, Dad, what's that? And he's handed me a club and a ball, and he's like, use that, hit that ball in those holes over there. And that's where it all started for me because I was a good little athlete. I played every sport, and I had a great time with all of them and a lot of success. But luckily, we moved to a golf course, or I'm not sure when I would have played or if at all. My father was a decent player. I think he was down at a 5 handicap at some point during his life. But if it wasn't for the move to a golf course, I'm not sure when or if I would have played at all. But I'm so happy that I did, and I actually chose golf to specifically in high school when it conflicted with football and other sports. And this was before Tiger made it cool, and so I took a lot of heat from my friends. They're like, "What, golf?" But no, it's become so cool now, and it's a real sport with real athletes, and it's not just a bunch of beer belly dudes out there competing for big dollars on TV. These guys are highly fit, toned athletes that are really taking the game to new levels. We saw it this week with some of those tee shots at Shinnecock. My goodness, I think there were a couple over 400 yards, which is just crazy.
Do you think the popularity of the game, and you referenced the Tiger effect, and Tony Finau has talked about this quite a bit, but do you think the popularity of the game in, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so, we are going to see records being broken and incredible athletes playing golf will lead this to even maybe being taken next level? What do you think about that?
I think so. I think mainly because it's such a lifelong sport and it's so popular because it's the ultimate meritocracy where if you don't play well, you don't get paid. There is no guaranteed contracts. There are no, hey, I'm in my contract year. I'm going to try really hard and then sign a 5-year deal and just kind of coast. That's not how it works. If you miss the cut, you don't get paid. And I know there's sponsorship dollars and other things out there, but for the everyday person, for the regular journeyman, it really is easy to relate to them. And I was telling my girlfriend, I love watching Friday afternoons where you can see where the cut line is moving up and down. And I've been on the wrong side of it many times. Where you're hoping to, if one guy makes birdie on the last hole, he knocks a whole group of guys at +4 out, which he didn't. But I mean, and then I also like watching on Sunday afternoon early and just seeing some of the guys that really need to improve their position, like Zach Blair here from Utah. He really needed a strong finish yesterday. He struggled a little bit and shot 3 over par, but he finished I think in the top 30, but. A nice little 70 or 69 would have jumped him close to the top 10 and really would have secured his playing privileges for next year. But it's those little things about golf that everybody seems to love. And I think it's a weird thing to say, but COVID kind of saved golf because prior to COVID, you could drive by Bonneville and there'd be no one on it. And now you call over there and you can't get on it. So it's awesome.
I've started my endeavor, #shrink the game. John, it's not going well.
Yeah, there is no shrinking the game now. Maybe if people get priced out a little bit of it, but that's the only danger is it's just getting more and more expensive. I was down in St. George a few months ago, and some of the green fees at those popular courses, not just Black Desert, some of the others, I was blown away. These courses, Sand Hollow, they were quoting $275. They would beg you to play it for $60 about 5 years ago. So. That's the only danger is being priced out, especially some of these really premier golf courses that are now being built.
Been a minute since you and I have been able to catch up, so I wanted to kick the tires with you on the inevitable ending of Live Golf, the return of certain players to the tour, namely Brooks Koepka, and what you make of how this kind of all went down and what you would like to see as far as a pathway back for certain players and what you think that should look like.
Well, I'm certainly glad that the PGA Tour was able to bump up prize money and wait them out. What I didn't want to see was some sort of merger that was just some bastardized version of golf as we used to know it. So I'm glad it's collapsed. I don't think it was ever sustainable to throw that kind of guaranteed money at players and then those kind of purses with no TV deal and no corporate sponsorship. So. As far as the path back, I think it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. I was reading this morning, Bryson DeChambeau faces a lot tougher hurdles getting back to the tour, even though he's quite popular. But he took some shots on the way out, and he also fought a lawsuit against the PGA Tour, unlike Brooks Koepka, unlike Patrick Reed. So they're back in the fold, but I think it's going to take a lot more from a guy like Brooks Koepka. I think Jon Rahm will be welcomed back if he can get out of his contract. Unfortunately, his contract is beyond this year, so Liv would have to cease to exist for him to be able to get the freedom to come back. So I think it's going to be different for every player based on how they left and who they are. I don't think anyone cares if Kevin Na comes back to the PGA Tour. I don't think anyone cares if Graham McDowell comes back to the PGA Tour. In fact, most of your listeners probably don't even know who they are. But they were decent players that left for Liv and took the guaranteed money. So outside of Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau and maybe Joaquin Niemann, I don't think it really makes much difference about the rest of them. And if they want to serve their year suspension and then play their way back onto the PGA Tour, I suspect that's going to be their only way back.
You alluded to a couple of things that I always like to bring up, and I do want to ask you about Phil Mickelson in a moment. I have a question about Phil and Tiger actually together, but there's a case to be made. And look, I am not a hater as it pertains to going to get your bag. Okay, so if somebody called me and said, "Hey, how would you like to do one radio show a week and quadruple your salary?" I'd be like, "Where am I flying? I'm leaving tomorrow." Okay, so
Exactly.
I understand the decision-making process and DJ making all of his money and all these guys getting paid. Good for you. But I think it's fair to acknowledge that even as Live Golf is about to potentially go away forever, it did have a positive effect on the way the players have been treated on the PGA Tour, correct? I mean,
I agree with that.
Yeah, so just your thoughts on that dynamic.
Well, I think what they did was they created these different events, the signature events, the elevated events, where only a limited number of players can get in, and there is no cut. So they're basically guaranteed money. The problem, what they've done now, though, is they've kind of bifurcated the tour. And so you've got the haves and the have-nots. And the haves are the only ones that the everyday fans want to see. And so the lesser tournaments, the lower tier tournaments, the Greater Milwaukee Open that no longer exists, or the smaller events, they're not like the Black Desert Championship. The big best players are not coming to those events, and that's going to be a problem long term, because the support down at the Black Desert Championship is awesome, because we haven't had a tour event in 50 years in the state of Utah. But I mean, when you can't even get Tony Finau to play in it, who's from Utah, that says a lot about there's the tournaments that he wants to play in, and then there's the rest of them. And that's going to be a problem. That's the new PGA Tour commissioner, Brian Roloff. He's going to have to address those issues and maybe even go back to where every event is the same and the purses are all the same. And I've always said I feel like a player should have 5 years to rotate through and play every single event on tour, because we need to see Rory McIlroy play in St. George. We need to see, John Rahm down there at some point. And it's not too much to ask you over a 5-year span to play every single event. But I've always advocated for that, but I doubt it'll ever happen. But I think that's the new answer, is to let's level the purses back up, not create a 2-tiered system on the PGA Tour, and try to get more participation from the big names. Because again, I'm with you, Spence. I'd come on with Bill on Bill's show, and he's like, has Live Golf called, and how much is your number? And I'm like, whatever they offer, I'm taking it, because nobody else is offering me anything. So,
yeah.
But I don't begrudge any of them for taking it, but I do begrudge the way some of them left, and Phil Mickelson is one of them.
Yes, I do agree with that. And that leads me to this question about both Phil and Tiger. And it wasn't that long ago that Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods were the two most popular, best players, and maybe most powerful names in golf. And two very different fall from graces, yet very stark fall from graces. I don't know if there's a life lesson to be learned here about maybe getting too big for your yard, or, the biggest player in an ecosystem. But what do you make of where we find ourselves with these two power players in the world of golf? And I know they're different situations, so you can unpack both individually.
Well, as far as Tiger's situation is concerned, I think every single person who can hear our voices right now knows somebody who has had a pain issue and gotten a prescription for those pills and had a problem. And it's an epidemic in our country, and it's been a problem for years, and it doesn't seem to be going away. And it just proves that it doesn't matter who you are. If you start taking those pills and take a few too many and get on the wrong track, then doesn't matter what your name is or how much money you have, that it can get you sidetracked. And I'm glad to see Tiger getting his life back, and hopefully we can get him back out on the PGA Tour, because I still believe he's got the skill and the ability to win golf tournaments, and not just on the senior tour. Because if Phil Mickelson can win a major at 50, Tiger Woods can too, because Tiger's always been better than Phil. Now, as far as Phil is concerned, I've been playing against him since college, and I've never really quite understood the guy, and I've never really got along much with him. I don't know him that well, but I just don't get why he would turn on this entity being the PGA Tour that made him who he is and made him fabulously wealthy, and then all of a sudden just take a bunch of shots out the door and run off into the arms of the Saudi Arabians. And I just don't see a path back for this guy. I just think he will be shunned if he tries to come back. I think we might see him playing in non-PGA Tour events like the United States Senior Open or the Senior PGA Championship, stuff that's not affiliated with the PGA Tour. But I just don't see how anyone wants him back. I don't see what he brings to the table either. So, and frankly, maybe he doesn't even care, because he's made a pile of money and he's 55 years old. So who knows if we'll ever see him again. I have no idea what this issue is to where he's got a family health matter and hasn't even been seen in public for 6 or 8 months. So I think we may have seen the last of him.
Yeah, and this deal with his, with his course throwing him out. I mean, as the story goes, and look, I can't corroborate any of it. I've just read the reports that are out there. But apparently, Phil, and look, his lawyer has come out and said he resigned membership because, of course, in today's day and age, all you do is lie and deflect and wait for the public to move on to something else and distract them from what's really going on. But when the story first surfaced, John, he was in the middle of a round at his home club in Southern California after a female employee accused him of inappropriate contact. They removed him mid-round, and by the end of the day, all of his pictures were taken out of the club. He was their most popular member, and he is out. Like, again, due process. He's got a lawyer. Okay, I guess we'll see what happens here. But it's almost like it's time to say, like, is this just like a bad dude? And I don't say that about many people, but his decision-making process doesn't seem to be that of someone of sound mind.
Yeah, I like I said, I've been competed against him, but I don't know him. So I can't comment personally, but I have tried to reach out to the friends of mine that are still in the golf world and find out what happened, but nobody knows. Like, I can't get anyone to say, okay, here's what happened, because for whatever reason we don't know. And I think it's quite telling, though, that he gets summarily removed from the golf course and basically just expunged from all records of the club and doesn't hire an attorney. But then it gets leaked to the press and everybody finds out about it. Now he's hiring an attorney. So seems to me like if it had stayed quiet, he would have never hired an attorney to spare his name or whatever he's trying to do. But I wish I knew what happened there. But I know that now in this day and age, any kind of conduct like that in any setting, whether it's a country club or an office building, it's just not tolerated. And sounds to me like the Farms Golf Country Club just took care of it right on the spot.
Yeah. And let me ask you about Tony. Let me kick the tires on Tony Finau, who, just about, I think it was 4 years ago, had a couple of wins on tour. Once upon a time, played in the final round of the Masters with someone named Eldrick Tiger Woods, as Tiger had that historic win in 2019. And he just hasn't been able to get back to the top of his game and maintain it. And look, I know the answer might just be golf is hard. But when you see him play the way that we've seen him play before, and then what's happened over the past couple of years, what stands out most to you?
Well, first is injury. So he had some surgery, and that takes a while to come back from, not just the physical healing, but the mental side, to actually trust that whatever has been surgically repaired is back to where you can trust it again. So, I mean, I think Mike Weir is another prime example of where, he had some elbow surgery and we just never saw him again. And it's not because he's not the same fantastic, talented player. It's just he was getting a little older, and then you lose a little bit of that self-belief and a little bit of confidence because of the injury, and it's really hard to recover from. I think that's partially what's happened with Tony. Now, but I do see signs of Tony coming back and getting better this season. And then I think the other factor too, Spence, he's getting older and he's got 5 kids, and there's other things that are more important than going to the range and practicing. And that's all a function of getting older and having other interests. So, and I haven't talked to Tony for a while, but I would suspect that he feels like he's on his way back. I've seen signs, and I think he has too. He's got some good finishes this year. I think he'll be fine. He just needs a little bit more time.
All right, may have buried the lead a little bit, but let's move over now to the U.S. Open as Wyndham Clark, who's had he's had a rough go since he won the U.S. Open. He did have a win this year, not too long ago. It was the CJ Cup Byron Nelson that he was able to win in May. So maybe there were some signs that his game was kind of rounding into form. He's turned into quite the lightning rod. And look, as the story goes, the tragic loss of his mother, was having some mental health issues, hired a coach who was able to help him. He breaks through at the LA Country Club with his U.S. Open win. And I think the win over the weekend was met by some with like, hey, reclamation, way to go. And some people that never want to see this guy win again. Why do you think that is?
Well, I know that he's had some issues, but so has everyone. I'm not sure. I mean, he keeps bringing them up and apologizing for them. And when what he's talking about was last year at the U.S. Open at Oakmont, which is it's not probably. It is the most difficult golf course I have ever played, and I've played all of the top 30 in America. I mean, this one is incredibly difficult, and they make it a U.S. Open setup. And I guess the story goes, Wyndham had a bad couple of rounds, missed the cut, and freaked out in the locker room and destroyed some historic lockers that were display pieces in the locker room. And I'm not sure to what extent, but I know he was banned for life from coming onto Oakmont Country Club property, and he immediately apologized, paid for all the damage, of course. But for an old school club like that, they weren't hearing it, and they're upset with them, and rightfully so. Go destroy your own property if you're upset. I mean, but he's apologized. He's tried to move on, and he's tried to just be a model citizen. Now, I can't understand those fans. Maybe we need to not play golf tournaments on Long Island anymore because the fans at Shinnecock were just, come on, guys.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if you're heckling like a European because they keep beating us in the Ryder Cup, but Wyndham's an American who's already won the U.S. Open, and they weren't just pulling for Scottie Scheffler, which is totally fine. I was too. But they were actively rooting against Wyndham, which I just don't understand, and it just has no place in golf. You don't need to cheer somebody's bad shot. Just if he hits a bad shot, just don't do anything. But I'm starting to wonder if we should play golf on Long Island on television anymore because those guys get fueled up with some of the beers up there and just say and do whatever they want. I commend Wyndham for not responding to any of it and just putting his head down despite not having his best stuff on Sunday and figuring out a way to win that tournament.
Yeah, well said. Hey, since you brought it up, before I set you loose, as somebody who knows a lot more about this stuff than I do, why do we keep getting our ass kicked in the Ryder Cup? What's the deal? Why do they keep owning us?
I think there's a much greater sense of camaraderie and teamwork on the European side. And it's not as much as it used to be. Those guys used to travel all together all through the different countries, and they kind of were like a traveling circus, and they know each other, and they know each other's wives and girlfriends, and they're friends, and they hang out and they go to the pub after they play, and I think that matters a lot. The U.S. players tend to be just, they have their whole entourage. I think you may have seen Ben Griffin, who's a really good tour player. He went on Instagram and detailed how much he spends $50,000 a week for his quote unquote team. He's got a trainer, he's got a chef, he's got a swing instructor, he's got a chipping instructor. I mean, so point I'm making is these guys are very isolated, and they're not used to playing as teammates. The last time any one of them played on a team was in college. And even college teams, you're out there playing not with your teammates. It's certainly not a best ball. You're out there with three other dudes from three other colleges, and your scores count as a team, but you're not playing alternate shot. You're not playing best ball. And they do that in Europe, and they do it a lot. And I think a lot of clubs in Scotland in the afternoon, if you go out and play, you have to play alternate shot. You can't play your own ball. So I've never even played alternate shot until I played on Utah, Arizona shootout teams or the Governor's Cup where the amateurs play the pros here in Utah. So I think that's a function of I think that's a big part of it.
Well, John, I appreciate the time, man. I'd love to get out with you because I always like to pick your brain, but best of luck in the tournament coming up, and we'd love to get you back soon, okay?
I would love to, and anytime, Spence, text me when you're free.
Will do. Appreciate it, sir. Be well. John Wright, PGA State Am champ, Senior Am champ. He's going to head over and play in the Senior Am across the pond in the UK. So some good stuff from John today. Appreciate his time. Before we catch a break, well, not a new client anymore, but if you haven't heard me talking about my friends at Game Day Men's Health, listen up. And if you've heard me talking about my friends at Game Day Men's Health, but you haven't taken advantage of the offer, today is the day. So we are in June. Okay. The year is halfway over. Did you set a goal at the beginning of the year to get back in shape, maybe lose a little weight, or maybe if you're in shape, you even wanted to take the next step? You have 6 months of data, and I'll just ask you how it's gone. And if it's going well, good for you, okay? But a few years back, I set that goal, and after a few months of eating clean and exercising, I just wasn't making a lot of progress, and it was frustrating. So I had a friend recommend Game Day Men's Health. He's like, hey, if you've never tried testosterone before or any of the other things they have at their disposal, just go in and see what they have to offer and then go from there. And that's what I did. They're offering you the same deal they offered me, which is the following. Number one, as I say every day, you should do this no matter what. It's a free consultation with no obligation. It doesn't cost you a cent. It takes maybe 20 to 30 minutes out of your day. So go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now and schedule that. Okay, location in Cottonwood Heights, one in Bountiful. So GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second, wait for you to go to that website, schedule your free consultation with no obligation. Okay, now that you've done that, the second part of this, which to me is the best part of it, is if you decide to join and follow along their process, they're giving you 50% off your membership, which makes this deal very affordable. So they're going to take a blood test. They're going to go over your levels. They're going to tell you where you're doing well. Then they're going to show you where you might be a little bit low and how they can help. And for me, that was supplementing testosterone and also utilizing some of their peptides. And after following their plan, within the next couple of months, I made far more progress than I did prior to. But here's the best part. It's 3 years later, and I've maintained it because I go see them every 3 months for another blood test, and we keep track of the process. GameDayMen'sHealth.com is where you go. Schedule the free consultation. Tell them you heard me talking about it on this radio show, and you get 50% off your membership for the entire first year with our friends at Game Day Men's Health. All right, 1 hour down, 3 hours to go. Coming up next, it is the voice of the Utah Jazz, Craig Bolerjack. So keep it here on a Monday on ESPN 700. 3 years ago, Dusty May was the head coach of Florida Atlantic, and now he coaches Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks. Interesting how things can change rather quickly. The NBA draft is tomorrow. The Utah Jazz have the number 2 overall pick. Join us live at the Engine Room for our draft party. Gordy Chaser, Richard Smith, Sean O'Connell. I'll be anchoring our coverage. Excited for that. And on the eve of the NBA draft, let's bring in the voice of the Utah Jazz, Craig Bowler. Jack. Bowler, happy Monday, man. How are we doing?
Hey, Spence, doing well. Can't wait for tomorrow. Counting it down, man. Clock's ticking about 27 hours or so, yeah.
There we go. So let's start with just the bottom line. The newest member of the Utah Jazz tomorrow night, Craig, will be who and why?
Oh, my goodness. Spence, I tell you, there are 3 really high-level players. AJ, is it Booz, is it Peterson? I did read today via reports that the Jazz had met, did not work out, but it had met with Peterson. That's just through some reports I saw online. So that's a good thing. I'm glad to see the conversation. But Spence, I'd say the first push of the dominoes got to be Washington, and I don't know if they even know. I don't have a clue. Of what they're going to do, who they want. Trae Young yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, he declined a $48 million player option, correct? And then it came out that the Wizards still want to pursue him. They would want to, obviously he wants an extension, and a pretty hefty one, I would guess. So that alone could impact that decision tomorrow evening. And that intrigues me, because if it doesn't, or they don't feel like it's going to happen, that could sway their decision on number 1, and that could drop to 2 for the Jazz. Or the Jazz have had high regards for Cam as well. All 3, along with Caleb Wilson, who's kind of an outlier for me, but I like him, and he's kind of a two-way guy, 9, 6'10", 215. It'd make the Jazz bigger, but I don't have a clue on how this is going to fall. And really, Washington right now holds the cards, and the Jazz just wait until that first pick's taken.
It was announced about 20 minutes ago Trae Young is going to sign a 4-year, $212 million deal with Utah. Just kidding, with Washington. He's going to stay with Washington, 4 years, $212 million. Bowler. And the reason why I think that's pertinent is that, by all accounts, Darren Peterson has told people across pro basketball that he thinks he's a point guard. Now, that's not up to him. That's up to his new coach. But if Darren Peterson wants to be a point guard, and that's kind of the intel out there, it feels like Washington may be leaning to Dibonsa, and that's what all the reports are right now.
Yeah, no. With you just telling me that, I walked in here and missed it 20 minutes ago, but that was the news yesterday, and I thought, if he does opt, which he did, and then sets the table for the extension, which it's now happened, that does change the whole complexity of the draft, 1 through 3, and I think they're loaded at guards, and they've made that decision. So if you have to look at the picks up on the board, you would put along most likely an A.J. Dibonsa on top of the Wizards list, right? And then the rest falls down to the Jazz. Then they have a big decision to make on how the interview with Peterson went. And obviously they know Carlos, who's in the organization, but what Cam's about, college player of the year, big credentials. I think he's shown in the video I've watched, he's a faster player than I realize up and down the floor. Maybe a lot of half-court sets at Duke, which is kind of, the way they do things. But they can get out and run, but they like to set things up. So it's intriguing, Spence. I tell you, it's the first. The first pick will kind of set the tone for the next, 4 to 5 picks, and then after that, Acuff and company will be interesting to see. There's a lot of people that highly regard him as well. I mean, is there an outlier, a sleeper? I don't know, but not for the Jazz. I think they pretty much have 3 guys in mind on who it's going to be.
We were talking earlier about the necessity when you look around the landscape of not just the West, but the NBA now, too, with what the Knicks just did. I mean, the Knicks have Jalen Brunson, and San Antonio has Victor Wembanyama, and Oklahoma City has Shea. But the Knicks also have Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart and OG Anunoby and Karl Anthony Towns, and Oklahoma City has, I don't know, 8 or 9 guys. Like Oklahoma City, Craig has a lottery pick this year, and I don't know where he will play. Like they might just draft him and send him down to the D League, or maybe they move the pick. And then, of course, San Antonio with Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, Julian Champagnie, Devin Vassell. I'm going to leave De'Aaron Fox off the list for now, but for the Jazz, I feel like they have a lot of really, really good pieces. Maybe what they're missing is that top-level star, and hopefully whoever they get it to will be that star. But the necessity now is to really build out a roster of like 8, 9 guys that can absolutely play in your rotation. This is a big pick tomorrow night.
It is. It's a franchise, I think, game changer. We talk windows. I think the Jazz have always talked about opening up a window of more than 1 or 2, 3 years, and that happens with teams that have aging vets that say, let's give it one more run, right? Like the Cavaliers are not old, but they have 10-year vets, one in Donovan Mitchell, and let's play it. Let's try it one more time. That gets a little dangerous because you can lose an opportunity to make a move and use your asset. And get younger, and more talented, and open up that window even longer. But a lot of teams get enamored with the players they have. Golden State, I think, if they were going to move Steph, they would have done it long ago. But he's going to be a rare breed now, like Stockton, who plays his entire career in one city. But Spence, this is a monumental pick. You have to hit. And that's the pressure that's on Austin and Danny Ainge. And I know they know pressure, believe me. I mean, you know it. I mean, Boston's not an easy town to live in sports-wise. And, Danny won one as a player and won one as in the front office. And and he's known around the league as they're scared of him a little bit, right? Because he just outfoxes many. And Austin probably in the same breed. So, I can't wait to see how this falls together. It'll be about a 20-minute, 30-minute window that we'll get a clearer picture of what the Jazz have planned. And then that pick, I think you're right, will determine the rest of the summer in free agency and how they move this roster, maybe who they trade for future picks, because you can't play everybody. And you're right about 8 or 9. OKC's deep, and it showed. San Antonio's deeper, it showed. New York is a champ for the first time in a long time. What, 53? Did I miss it? 53 years?
53 years, Craig. That's right.
Yeah, 53. And you know what? I was impressed because they have some youth, but they're veterans. They didn't panic. And that's what you finally build up to as you go along this journey. And the Jazz are just starting this new journey with young players who are developed a ton the last 2 seasons, and the record proves we're on the floor, 17 wins, 22, and next year or this year coming, which is not far away, mind you, that they can jump back into a play-in or a playoff position. Is it far-fetched? I don't think so, but you know what? We'll see, because the West is tough. You got to be on your game every night to play high-level ball in the Western Conference.
Unless there has been a front office reshuffling, Craig, I'm quite sure you're not negotiating Walker Kessler's contract. So there could have been a press release that I missed during a break or something.
No, you didn't miss it.
Okay.
Miss a thing.
But what I wanted to tap into is your wealth of experience, and I'm not calling you old. I'm just saying you've seen a lot of things. I perceive this to be simply status quo for what a negotiation entails. A team offers a free agent, certainly a restricted free agent, an offer sheet. And then the agents, namely Aaron Mintz and Ray Young, CAA's co-head of basketball, who are like the main power brokers in pro basketball right now, they're the agents that just got Trae Young $212 million. It's their job to go to the well and try to squeeze out a little bit more juice. And then typically what happens is the team and the player and the agents come to an agreement, and even if there's some hard feelings about the way the negotiation goes down, it typically ends with the player back with the team. And that's what I think is going to happen here. What about you?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. You know, we've seen it so many times, Spence, work out exactly the way you just said it. You know, they use social media, they use, sports talk radio, they use anything they can to put out, a message. And I love Walker. I'd say the best thing he did was, in his own words, come out front and talk about his relationship with the Utah Jazz. Now, was that on him? I think so. There's other players that have come and gone that we know of who left town with not a word. And that's upsetting. I think, you get ahead of the game whenever some negativity comes around. But Walker, I thought, did a marvelous thing to come out on social media, on his own platform, his own words, to kind of explain what he's about and what he hopes happens. And whether that was something that the agents decided to do or Walker just said, hey, look, I'm going to do this. And I really respect any player that, remember, you can be represented, but it doesn't mean you lose your voice. And I think that's something that's got to be remembered. Agents come and go. Sometimes, Ace Bailey made a change just prior to the start of his rookie year. And, I think it's important that a player still has that ability, Spence, to speak out and talk to the fan base, basically, because I think he wants this to happen. Now, will it? I don't know. But it does come down to money, and that's Ryan's decision on what that looks like. And as teams get better, people want more money. Oklahoma City is going to go through this. San Antonio will go through the same situation, and the Knicks are going to look at it too. A title or heavy runs into the playoffs, forces the hands of GMs to say, well, we're going to move you or we're going to keep you, and let's try to work a deal. And I think the Jazz are kind of at that point right now with Walker. Out all of last season with that shoulder injury, minus the 3 games. But that thing had been nagging him for 2. And I'm just glad. I'm anxious to see him healthy and back on the floor, and I hope it's in Utah.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be. I would be very surprised if it went the other way. I mean, as I keep talking about, restricted free agency is team-friendly, not player-friendly. And if the reports are true, and the report that Tim McMahon made on this radio show, and then it was aggregated by other unserious people, that it's 5 years, $140 million. If I'm Austin Ainge, if I'm Danny Ainge, if I'm Ryan Smith, I'm saying, look, if that's not enough, kid, go to the marketplace and see if you can get something more. And if you can, good on you, then we have a decision to make. You know what I mean?
I think another thing, Spence, look, I try to put myself in these situations, but I am old school to the max. You know what? Brunson gave up $100 million, right, just to put the right pieces in with him as a team, and look what the outcome was. You won a title. That's the ultimate goal. That defines who you are. The ring, it's there. It's yours. It runs through your family forever. And I think what Walker sees is a hell of a lineup. He likes the chemistry of this team. And you know what? Who wouldn't want to be a part of this? And and I know it's crazy to say take all the money you can and run. Sometimes you have to decide $5 million, $3 million, $6 million. Is it by the time you pay your agent and taxes come out and all the other stuff that goes with it? I mean, why don't you just go play ball with the guys you like and try to make something special happen? I'm crazy, right? But maybe that's what Walker's thinking. We'll see.
Yeah, it's very rare. It's one of the things that I think is a little bit under-talked about with Jalen Brunson, even though it has been reported and discussed. I mean, Jalen Brunson didn't leave a little bit of money on the table. He left $113 million on the table for the Knicks to be able to go out and pay Cat and pay OG and pay Josh Hart and bring in Mikal Bridges. But, that doesn't happen often. Bowler, most of these guys, it does seem like, and look, whenever I say most of these guys, I want to be very clear that a lot of this is agent-driven. So much of what's happened in the NBA is agent-driven. Load management, in my opinion, is agent-driven. They want their clients as healthy as possible so they get to their second and third and sometimes fourth and fifth contracts. The real money comes really in your third contract. And I'm laughing because your second contract for Walker Kessler is $140 million. But if Walker signs his second deal and continues to evolve and is close to a max money player, then it becomes $250 and $300 million. Agents really are behind a lot of this. And it takes a very rare player to tell the agent, yes, you are also taking a pay cut, because what Jalen did is bet that if I leave this money on the table and we bring these guys in and we win a championship, then I'm the king of New York and I will make as much money as I want for the rest of my life. But that doesn't happen very often.
No. And what happened? He's king of New York.
Exactly.
And Spence, you know the history of the Knicks as well as anyone. You know, there's been some great ball players roll through there. Is he number one in the eyes of the Knicks faithful from now until end of time? I mean, he did something that they have waited for such a long time. And I got to be honest, I was impressed how he held it together. No panic. Man, he is the leader on that floor. There's no doubt. And follow me. And I just was like, wow. They have been in the doghouse for 4 straight games in the first quarter, yet no panic. And they forced a young team to make mistakes. The veterans stayed steady. And that's kind of a lesson to be learned, too. Hey, look, San Antonio's going nowhere. They've got Castle, Harper, and Wemby. And, you know, the coach, I think, took a lot of heat just because of the way the collapse happened. But Mitch probably is going to hold steady as well. But, gosh, Spence, I tell you, it was really a remarkable series. And to watch, you know, a bunch of guys who just said, let's do it. And we were talking earlier with some other buddies of mine. They were talking about, what about the big three? I said, I think it's dead. I mean, in the NBA, I think it's more depth-driven, team concept-driven, and also defensively driven, right? The last 3 champions, you know, Boston, OKC, and New York, I mean, they're tenacious on defense. They force you into some very uncomfortable situations. Just ask Wembanyama. But, you know, the Jazz are kind of on that same course. That was my point, is that they're building the character and the team concept, and I kind of like it. I kind of like that. Maybe you can win now in this league if everybody's on the same page. It may change quickly overnight, but from the big three to a team concept is quite intriguing for me. And the Jazz seem to be building that way with very good players, but you made a point earlier. Are they perennial all-stars? No. Could they be? Maybe. Ace, you know, we don't know. And the second-round pick that's on its way tomorrow night could be somebody really special. So that's kind of the crazy part about this, is a little bit of a wait-and-see game. But right now I think the Jazz have some pretty good pieces together.
We've talked quite a bit about the parallels between Gordon Hayward's restricted free agency and what's happening with Walker Kessler. And there are some people that have surmised, Craig, and I want to be clear, I don't know this to be true. There are a lot of people that do believe the following is absolutely true, that when the Jazz front office declined to give Gordon the extension, had him play out the final year of his deal, and then said, go bet on yourself. And he did, and he was right, because he played well and got a max offer sheet from Charlotte. There are some people that believe the seeds were planted then, that as soon as Gordon was able to leave, he was going to leave. I'm not one of those people. I think he wanted to go play for his college coach and wanted to sit at a different lunch table. I don't draw a line between the two, but I wonder if you do at all, and whether or not there's any danger to what is happening now with the Jazz and Walker, because even if they do come to an agreement, that at the end of his next deal, he will be unrestricted like Gordon was, and he will have the ability to do to the Jazz what Gordon did.
Right. No, it's a good point. Jazz came away with nothing when Gordon Hayward decided, as you said, to move on and play for his college head coach, Brad Stevens. You know, it's an interesting scenario, isn't it? You have to be careful and work with your players and keep that line of communication. The one thing that I see that's glaring between the two is that Walker has communicated already verbally to the fan base and in his own way to the Utah Jazz Gordo never said a word. I mean, he was quiet and disconnected, I think is the best way I remember it. I talked to him, but I always sensed there was something underlying, or that, again, someone gets in his ear that there's bigger and better things out there, especially in the East, endorsements, etc. For him, we'll never know because the injury came so quick, Spence, with the ankle, and that really just derailed him. I mean, he was never the same. And you're hoping that – I like Walker. I think he's got a great future, and I hope it's here with the Utah Jazz. I mean, shot blocker extraordinaire, defender, rim protector, all the things you want, offensive and defensive rebounder. Is he a step-out three? No. Does he want to try to? Yes. Can he put buckets back in off missed shots? Absolutely. I mean, he does a lot of things, and he can get the ball out and move the offense too. So there's a lot of positives there. He's not a Wemby, right? Not a cat, but he can give you 12 points a night, 15 rebounds, and 3 block shots. And I don't think that's really a big problem for him on most evenings. But your conversation, your questions intrigues me because Gordo did it a different way, and I think Walker's taken just the opposite, and it could play huge benefits for him in the long run too.
The other interesting dynamic about why I think Walker might have some leverage and why the Jazz badly need him on the roster, and I think it was Legler who I heard on a podcast say there are 2 teams that are equipped to deal with Victor Wembanyama. One is New York, and he said the other is Utah, with Walker Kessler and Jaren Jackson Jr., and Markkanen not as much. Lowry is a fine defensive player, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is a former Defensive Player of the Year. And Walker Kessler is, by all accounts, one of the elite rim protectors in the league with good size. Now, when I say good size, you see Walker next to Wemby, and there's a 5-inch difference because that's just how big he is. But I do think I think you need a lot of big bodies that can kind of get physical with Wembanyama, like we saw the Knicks do with Cat and Mitchell Robinson. And the Jazz do have to look at their Western Conference peers, namely that alien in San Antonio, and having Walker on the roster does not hurt.
Spence, bingo. I mean, I think that's the one thing that their camp knows, and I hope it works out because defending him is nearly impossible. I'm speaking of Victor, and we saw it multiple times. He is generational. I mean, I just am amazed of what he can do around the rim, what one step, what one high reach for a rebound that he's able to do. I mean, it's insane. But I think you're right. To win and to beat, you have to frustrate San Antonio, and you have to control. You're not going to stop him, but you have to just limit his capabilities. And that front line of the Jazz, if it comes to fruition, is going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of teams, including San Antonio.
So when you look at the potential, let's end with a little more draft chatter. Let's say it's a surprise, and it's Cameron Boozer. It's interesting to consider some of the parallels. And we were talking about this with Gordy and Smitty last week. Jalen Brunson wins a high school state championship. Jalen Brunson wins 2 national championships in college. And sometimes I roll my eyes when I hear hey, he's just a winner. But, with Jalen, it does appear that he knows how to do this. And despite his maybe athletic limitations, he knows how to play high-level basketball, and he knows how to just figure it out. Cameron Boozer won in high school. He was a miracle UConn shot away from going to a Final Four. And while he might not have AJ's, jaw-dropping athleticism or Darren Peterson's potential ceiling, there is something to Cameron that reminds me a little bit of the Jalen dynamic. They're different players that play different positions, but it's simply, okay, maybe he's not the fastest or the strongest or he jumps the highest, but you cannot deny he was raised right to play the game correctly, and he has won wherever he's been, and he seems to be able to figure it out. You know what I mean? So if it's Cameron Boozer, what would your reaction be tomorrow night?
No, you know what? I think the Jazz would be elated. I really do. I think those top 3 guys we spoke about, Peterson, obviously AJ, and Cam are all 3 players that have a a hell of a future ahead of him. Look, I think you make a great point. Cam grew up in a basketball family. His dad is Carlos Boozer, played for the Jazz. The transition would be minimal, I think, for any team he plays with because he understands the NBA, the inner workings. I mean, when you see your dad do it, it makes it a little more, well, it's never easy on the road in the NBA and ought to continue to be on a roster, but he gets it. He understands the ins and outs. It just gives, again, the Jazz more depth. It gives them more opportunity. They want to make roster changes. They have the potential to use other players for, trade purposes or future draft picks. So I don't think the Jazz panic on anyone who they get tomorrow night. Anyone that comes in to play for the Jazz under Will Hardy, he's in his 5th season. He's ready to go, right? I still remember you and I sitting in the presser, and you just walk down like, man, that guy's good, and he is. He's well spoken. He knows what's going down, and I think you're lucky to play for him. I really do, and I hope it. Whoever it is, I think Will's going to take good care of him.
Yeah, that presser we were sitting in, I really showed up because, first of all, I wanted to be there before the end of the season. But I wanted to ask Will one question, which is, have you allowed your mind to go to next year yet? And I wasn't sure if he was going to give me the Will Hardy, Greg Popovich snark, like, we got a game tonight. But he took about 5 to 7 minutes and really was thoughtful in his response. Yeah. And you could tell, Craig, even though he doesn't want to tip his hand, that he's really excited to actually show Jazz fans what this is going to look like when he's allowed to play his best players.
Right. Totally agree. We've talked. I talk to him every night before the game, do our 5 minutes playing. He walks by, I walk by, ask a question. He's got a smile on his face. Yes, it's been tough. Let's not misunderstand that. 17 wins is no fun, 22. And you've got to hit the press every night with, explanations of what's going down, what you like about a player, et cetera, et cetera. And he's ready to blossom. 5 years in, it's his time. It's the Jazz time to really start to become a talking point in the NBA and the Western Conference for sure. And, again, I can't wait for tomorrow night to see the next step in this process.
Hey, before I set you loose, I was thinking about this because, as I always say, look, I'm a lifelong Knicks fan, but I'm also a lifelong Jazz fan. Those are my two teams, and now that I've seen my Knicks win, I'm going to hone in on wanting my Jazz to win. And as I was sitting there watching Patrick Ewing and John Starks and Larry Johnson and Allen Houston and Charles Oakley, if it was on the road, I wondered what it would look like if the Jazz were in the NBA Finals, and would we see Stock? Would we see Carl? Would we see Jeff and your broadcast partner, Thurl? And as the story goes, Mike Breen joined the show last week and told a beautiful story about a moment where Patrick Ewing was, and obviously, Ewing, I still think is the greatest Knick of all time. I'm certainly biased. He was holding the Larry O'Brien trophy, and he said, I finally got my ring. And, of course, he's not playing for this team, but they brought him in on kind of an official capacity to talk player personnel moves so that he would be able to get a ring if they won. And so Patrick Ewing is going to get an NBA championship ring. I wonder what you think it would mean to John and Carl and Thurl and whoever else. And if you think those scenes that we saw at Madison Square Garden would be similar as far as the old players showing up. Our celebrity row would be like Donny Osmond and that's it. But as far as the players who would show up, do you think we'd see kind of similar scenes?
I would hope so. I hope that no one ever forgets the foundation pieces of any franchise, and especially the Jazz. Look, Darrell Griffith, 1980, number 2 pick, starts the process that the Jazz of building blocks, right? And then 83 comes Thurl, 84 comes Stockton, 84 comes, Karl Malone. In between, they find Mark Eaton. And, you just can't wash away the foundation. Those players, they have to be embraced and to be remembered as a team that really, with Frank Layden, nearly left town without Larry's, financial infusion. And I would hope so, Spence. I would hope that there would be a front row of former Jazz players that could just walk in the building and just breathe like, hey, this is cool. This is what we worked for. We didn't quite make it once, but we're back. And it'd be really nice to see the old guys come in. I love it for my partner in Big T to sense and feel that. I mean, he won a national championship. He knows what it's like to win at the highest of levels in college basketball. And I can't imagine how his emotions would be if the Jazz would win a title in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah, be awesome.
Bowler, I don't want to make you emotional, but a quick Google search indicates what Celebrity Row in Utah would look like. So I want you to picture the Utah Jazz are in the finals, and on the front row is the Osmonds, Ken Jennings, Chrissy Teigen, Roseanne Barr, and David Archuleta.
All righty then.
Oh, man. Maybe we could get
Donnie's Donnie is, I met him a couple times. Great guy. I wish he'd be at the games more, but he's still doing his thing in Las Vegas. Doesn't mention Marie, huh? I'll be.
No, it doesn't. Maybe we'll get her on Celebrity Row when the Jazz make the finals. Bowler, thanks for the time. Enjoy the draft tomorrow. We'll chat soon, okay?
All right, pal. Take care.
Craig Bowlerjack. All right, Porter, I want you to picture this, okay? I'm going to say in 5 years,
Yep.
the Utah Jazz are in the finals.
5.
Yeah, I mean, it's not happening soon, dude. Let's not be homers here.
Okay.
We're going to say Game 7, Delta Center, Salt Lake City, Utah. ABC's in town, and they pan across the Celebrity Row of famous Utahns, and Donnie and Marie Osmond are there. Jeopardy icon Ken Jennings is there.
Of course.
Roseanne Barr is in the house. David Archuleta is here. Philo T. Farnsworth, the inventor of the electric television, raised in Provo, Utah.
Dead.
I'm not. Oh, okay. Well, so Philo Farnsworth will not be there. Who else? Maybe Ty Burrell. He's not a native, but
Jewel
in the house.
Jewel will be there. Post Malone will be there. Maybe
Post
if
Malone.
he still lives here.
There you go.
There's a rapper. What is his name?
There's a rapper? James the Mormon? James the
No.
Mormon would definitely be there.
I can't even remember what his name is. There's another hip hop artist that's notably Utah. I think he came here to do house arrest specifically. It's a good question.
Are we allowed to include Utah people that live in Utah but don't have necessarily roots here?
Yeah, I mean, not everyone on New York or LA celebrity roads are like LA natives, right? OC lifers. Sean O'Connell.
Patrick Fugit of Almost Famous fame.
Okay.
Derek and Julianne Hough.
Yeah, like the whole cast of Real Housewives and the other one.
All right, now we're jumping the shark. We can't have reality TV stars on our celebrity row.
Gordy Chiesa.
Shout out Gordy.
He should be involved.
Let's see here. They're saying Jim Nance.
Yeah.
Steve Young.
I mean, Jim Nance was just here for work, right?
Yeah. Are you sure Philo T. Farnsworth is dead?
He invented the television.
That's a fair point. That guy's alive. He's like 120. Tyler Glenn, the lead singer of Neon Trees. I don't know who he is. He grew up a Latter-day Saint, announced he was gay.
There's a lot of like bands that are based in or from Utah Valley, Utah County.
In 2016,
just suck.
In 2016, Tyler Glenn released an album entitled Excommunication. So my guess is he's no longer living here. Let's see. Robert Redford has passed. Rest in peace, Robert Redford. They do list the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. A man named Tan France. Do you know who Tan France is?
I think he's also a reality TV guy.
Here's the description. A nice Muslim gay man from England, the son of Pakistani parents.
So not from Utah.
He's on a show called Queer Eye.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Shout out Tan France. Danny Ainge is on the list. My guess is he would be there. How about Mike Lookingland, better known as Bobby from the Brady Bunch, in the house?
Okay. The Brady Bunch star.
Scott Wolf apparently lives here.
James Woods.
We don't want James Woods anywhere around.
He'll be there, though.
Scott Wood was in the party of 5. His wife, Kelly, was a member of Real World New Orleans. Okay, shout out Kelly. Big Real World fan here. Katherine Heigl lives
Shout
here,
out Catherine.
better known as Katie, since she grew up in New Canaan, Connecticut.
Which is odd. Did you meet her there?
I did. She was one of my younger sister's good friends.
Because small world here, worked a little bit for her mother and met her in my hometown.
Okay.
Real small world.
Yeah, Post Malone on the list. Post would definitely be there. Okay. All right. Well, bottom line is it would be a really weird celebrity row.
Spence Checketts.
Well, covering it, of course. Ted Bundy has ties here. My guess is
Not going to be there.
not going to be there. Stephen Covey has passed. Rest in peace, Stephen Covey, the legend.
And Britain might be the governor by then, so.
Britton Covey, definitely. You know what? During the break, give me a number of celebrities we want on Celebrity Row when the Jazz play in the finals.
0.
No. We have to. Brandon Flowers, I guess, lead singer of the Killers.
This is true.
What's that dopey band that every time I hear, I picture BYU football players listening to when they lift? Imagine Dragons.
They're local-ish.
Radioactive. Bear Bachmeyer just squatting to Radioactive.
Maybe a hot take. Bear Bachmeyer might be a better musician than anyone in that band.
Is Bear Bachmeyer a musician?
He plays the guitar, sings a little bit.
Esther Hicks.
Who's that?
She's known as this like guru who teaches 30-year-old women how to leave their husbands and think positively about the universe. Better known as Abraham Hicks. I think that's who she is when she breaks in her whole like everything is working out for me. You're in the vortex.
How do you know who she is?
BS. You try dating in your 30s and 40s in Salt Lake.
I didn't want to.
This is a wild list. Several former Utes and Cougars on the list.
Mitt Romney will be there.
Shout out Mitt. Okay. During the break, I'm going to put together a list of 10 celebrities that we want Celebrity Row. A grip of Osmonds. How many Osmonds are there? There's like 12 Osmonds. Okay, we're going to do that during the break because that's what the people want. Coming up next, the 10 celebrities that will be in the house when the Utah Jazz play. Oh, Elizabeth Smart. Shout out. Shout out Elizabeth Smart. Very famous. Peekaboo Street. Yeah, we got some options here.
Should we invite Jimmer, or will that be a distraction for the fans?
Yeah, Jimmer is too famous.
Do you remember how weird that was?
Yes. The weirdest part.
When the very faithful and very consistent Utah Jazz Delta Center, whatever the arena was called back then, started cheering for the other team because one James Taffordette was playing for, I believe, the Kings.
The other wild part about that whole situation is every time he was released, BYU fans would be like, "Hey, it's what the Jazz are missing."
It is, to be honest with
Jimmer. No, it's not. But let's get Jimmer on the show. By the way,
I've been trying.
Okay, I followed up with him. He said he's good to go.
Sure.
Johnny Miller, former pro golfer, won 25 PGA Tour events. We got Tony. We got some options here. We'll put together a list, the 10 celebrities that will be on Celebrity Row when the Jazz make the NBA Finals in 5 years. We will catch a break. That's coming up on the other side. Wesley Ruff will be helpful with this. He'll be live in studio, so keep it here. Monday Drive, ESPN 700. What are you doing? What's going on? Don't make me do my... Have you seen the guy on SNL who does his Tucker Carlson?
Yes.
It's so good.
What are we doing here?
What are we doing? What's going on? What are you playing? What is this?
Some Osmonds.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man.
Allowed.
Come on.
Allowed.
Get with the program.
I think we...
You don't recognize an Osmond hit when you hear it?
No, I should. I may have never told you this before, but when I was at Bountiful High for my senior year, we were told that we had an assembly. And my first 3 years of high school back east, assemblies were basically for us to be told we're doing bad things by the principal and we need to change our behavior.
Of course.
First assembly, Bountiful High. I go in, sit down. I'm kind of the new kid. Luckily, my cousin Chad was there, so I had like one friend. I sit down, and suddenly the lights go down. And I'm like, what's going on here? What are we doing? What's going on? And out of the rafters coming down from the top of the rafters is an Osmond singing Standing on Top of the World by Van Halen.
Okay.
And that was our assembly. We were called to watch. He was like an SBO. I should remember his name. He was a nice kid. I think it was Dave or Steve or something. And I don't know which Osmond spawned him, not which one he came from.
There's a few.
Lovely fella, good voice. But our assembly at Bountiful High, we were called together to watch an Osmond sing a Van Halen song.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I mean, look, it's better than being scolded by a principal. Okay, I feel like I'm working on this list here. What I'm trying to do is make us look cool to the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough. I feel like Post Malone is a lock. I think we need Post Malone there because most people think he's awesome.
Right.
Lindsey Vonn lives here. She's badass. Great skier. I'm going to put Lindsey Vonn on the list.
Okay.
Ty Burrell, Modern Family fame. Friend of the show, Ty Burrell, by the way. Co-owner of Bar X and Beer Bar downtown. So I feel like Ty needs to be on the list. Post Malone, Lindsey Vonn, Ty Burrell. And you tell me if I'm over my skis here, because I think Andre Miller should be on the list.
Yes.
Street cred.
Why not?
Andre's badass.
I'm with you.
Tony Finau needs to be on the list. And he and Ryan are tight, so we'll be there anyway. And because we are Utah, we have to, do we include Donnie and Maria? We have to have an Osmond there. We're known across the world as the home of the Osmonds.
I think they can be there. Maybe just count them as one.
Donnie and Marie count as one. Okay. Donnie and Marie Osmond. If you guys are confused what we're doing, we're trying to figure out what Celebrity Row in Salt Lake will look like when the Jazz make the finals in 5 years. You know what? I'm going Katie Heigl.
I like it.
I'm going Katie Heigl. You know her as Catherine. We're tight. We're going Katie Heigl.
Is Josh coming?
Her husband? We'll count them as one.
Nice guy.
Power couple. You know Josh.
That's how I connected with her a little bit. He's a celebrity. He's a musician.
Josh
Nashville
Kelly,
guy.
yeah. I mean, Grey's Anatomy was a massive television show, right?
It was huge.
My Father, the Hero. Shout out Gerard Depardieu, or however you pronounce that dude's name. France is playing soccer right now.
Ah, there you go.
That was when we realized our little childhood friend was about to be a star, when she was in that movie.
That's pretty cool.
All right, Katie Heigl's making a list. See, here's where we get into, like a Jimmer Fredette, a Keith Van Horn. Jimmer didn't grow up here, but obviously massive superstar.
Indeed.
Keith didn't grow up here. You know what? Alex Smith is on the list. Alex Smith is on the list. Didn't grow up here, but number 1 overall pick.
He's not really here often either, but we'll invite him back.
All right, let's review. Post Malone 1, Lindsey Vonn 2, Andre Miller 3, Tony Finau 4, Johnny Miller 5, the Osmond 6, Ty Burrell 7, Catherine Heigl, Josh Kelly 8, Alex Smith 9. How popular is Jimmer Fredette outside of the state of Utah?
In China, he's very popular.
That's true.
But not hugely outside of here in the hoops world.
We're leaving one more seat because we want 10 celebrities. We could expand it, but we're looking for the top 10.
I got a bunch for you.
Okay, hold on just real quick. Robert Redford has passed. Shout out Robert Redford.
Dead.
I'm just going over this list. I don't think we can put Scott Wolf on the list. I mean, Party of Five was somewhat big.
Friend of the program.
Scott Wolf has been on this radio show?
Or did I get him on with Bill?
You must have got him on with Bill. So thanks a lot, dude.
We can do that.
Mike Lookingland, again, was Bobby on the Brady Bunch. Seems like that's a while ago. Tan France, as we went over, a nice Muslim gay man from England, according to the Salt Lake Tribune, who was on the... that's literally how they describe him. A nice Muslim gay man from England.
We can invite him.
He was on Queer Eye. No, this is for the final seat. They also list the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm going to leave reality TV stars off of this, including the other Mormon wife show. What's that called? Real Lives? Mormon Housewives?
Secret Lives.
Secret Lives. Thank you. So all due respect to Lisa, Mary, Monica, Heather, Meredith, and Whitney. Shout out Jen Shaw while we're at it, but we're going to go ahead and leave them off. Osmonds are making the list. Tyler Glenn, who's the lead singer of Neon Trees, is not going to make the list. So some other options, Porter, then I want you to give me your options. I think Jules in the mix. I think Patrick Fugit of Almost Famous fame. He played the kid who had a crush on Kate Hudson. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Maybe he's on the list. Roseanne Barr on the list. Let me follow up one more time. Philo T. Farnsworth has passed.
Dead.
Invented the TV, so probably dead. Derek and Julianne Hough are super famous. Ken Jennings. Jared Hess, better known as Napoleon Dynamite. I thought he was from Idaho. Okay, so those are the... Chrissy Teigen, who's married to John Legend, is a supermodel. Apparently she's from Utah. I didn't know this. Delta, Utah.
She's a rural Utah gal.
Oh, way to go, John Legend. Okay, so those are some of the other names. Who am I missing?
Casey Field.
Who the hell is that?
Stetson Wright. Ryder Wright.
Are you just going to name rodeo dudes? Is that what you're about to do? I mean, respect to that endeavor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to do that. I was going to do that for like the next 10 minutes.
If I gave you one seat on Celebrity Row for a rodeo bro, who would it be?
That's going to be Casey. He's I think a 7-time world champ. He's the best to ever do it in rough stock, probably.
I feel like you're just naming characters from Yellowstone now.
No.
Okay.
Casey Field, son of other great Lewis Field.
Okay, so
Camas Valley's finest.
Shout out anyone from Camas Valley is cool with me. So we'll put one seat on Celebrity Row for a rodeo bro because that's kind of indicative of who we are. It's part of our state. It's part of our DNA.
I appreciate you doing that.
No Imagine Dragons. No, none of those corny bands from Utah County are making the list. Just a quick review here of some other options. I referenced David Archuleta, American Idol fame. He was uber famous at one point.
We love second place, too.
Indeed, we do. That's a good point. Roseanne Barr. At one point, Roseanne probably would have made the list. These days, I don't know how she's holding up. Haven't checked in on Roseanne Barr in quite some time. Sean Bradley, former NBA. Who's the most... Oh, Puka. Puka Nacua. Probably the most famous BYU football alum.
Yeah, you could invite Puka. You may get...
Easy.
I don't know. Just have some security ready.
We're cheering for our guy. We want him to get well.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
What about Fred Warner? He's awesome.
He's great.
Because if we're gonna invite Andre Miller and Alex Smith, I mean, remember Ryan Smith owns the team. The BYU feel down at that building is rather prevalent. Why does it say Jerry Buss on this list? Was Jerry Buss born in Utah? I mean, he's dead anyway.
You want me to...
Respectfully. Okay, I'm going to give you one seat for your rodeo, bro. And then we'll finalize our list. So, okay, before we catch a break, the 9 names that we have, Post Malone, Lindsey Vonn, Andre Miller, Tony Finau, Johnny Miller, the Osmonds, Ty Burrell.
Jerry Buss was born in Salt Lake and went to the University of Wyoming. Okay.
Huh, all right.
Did not know that.
Donnie and Marie Osmond count as 1. Katherine Heigl and Josh Kelly count as 1. Alex Smith. All right. So we're at 9, maybe with a seat with a rodeo bro. Wes Ruff will be good at this. We need to nail down our 10 celebrities. We talked about Mitt Romney, but obviously he's a rhino. I don't even know what that means. I just know that's what all the MAGA idiots say about him.
He's a Republican in name only, Spence.
Okay. Yeah, we got a lot of like ex-Utes and Cougars here. We got a Paul Kruger reference. We got a Brett Kiesel, Ryan Keel. We're going to nail it down to 10. Star Lotulelei.
Not as famous as he was, just good.
Correct.
Same with Haloti.
Haloti, is Haloti coaching
Yes,
with our guy Casey at Olympus? I think he is.
in some way.
All right, we'll catch a break. We're going to nail down this list before we say goodnight. Another Jim Nantz reference, which is weird. Merlin Olsen, he has passed. Rest in peace to the legend. Little House on the Prairie shout out. Okay, we're going to nail this down. All right, coming up next, his last broadcast was last night. I wonder how he's doing. We're going to bring in Wesley Ruff. Get to the 5 o'clock hour of the show. We'll say goodnight at 6 on ESPN 700. You know, I usually will get, and I usually have an idea when I hear the voice. Was this Wes's pick? Okay, so Wes Ruff is live in studio. We like to allow our guests a walk-up song choice, Wes. So who did you bring us today?
That was Elton John.
Okay.
The Bitch is Back.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
One of my favorites.
I like myself some Elton John. Have you ever seen Elton John in concert?
First concert I ever saw in my life was Elton John.
Really?
Paid $7.50 for a ticket.
Now that's...
For 4 hours, October 8th or 9th up at the Special Event Center, now the Huntsman Center. Just Elton John. It was great.
That's not even a quarter of the fee you have to pay for a ticket now.
Yeah. And the last time I saw him, we went to Vegas. Saw him, and I paid like $250 a ticket to sit in the nosebleeds.
There you go. Yeah, I saw Elton John and Billy Joel at MSG together.
Nice.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
That's a good, because everyone always asks you, what's the first concert you ever saw? Elton John's a good answer. Mine's the Beach Boys.
Oh, I saw the Beach Boys shortly after that.
Which is a good answer, but it was a little weird. I was 12 years old, and my father took me because they were playing at the Paramount Theater adjacent to MSG. But Brian Wilson was going through his whole, he wasn't with the band. I believe there was only 2 original members, and so in order to keep people's attention, they marched out scantily clad women in, bikinis, and my dad's, covering my eyes, and I'm like, this is awesome.
They did not do that when they played at BYU when I saw them.
Yes. No, that's probably true.
Kind of a vibe.
There you go. Wes Ruff live in studio. Congratulations, ? On the retirement. How are you feeling, man?
I'm bored to death.
Yeah.
Today's the first day of my retirement, and I'm bored.
Tell me how.
No, I'm just kidding. It's awesome.
Tell me how long you were on television in this market.
In this market, 41 years.
41 years.
All at Channel 4.
You look too young for 41 years.
Well, I started working when I was 6 years old.
There you go. I was going to say mid-40s. Yeah. And I wanted to know, because one of the things I like to do, the great thing about radio is we're not beholden to a clock. We can just have a conversation. When did you first know that sports media was for you?
I told this story when I was on with Smitty a couple of weeks ago. And this is really embarrassing, but I was watching Bill Marcroft on the air.
I thought you were about to say Bill Maher. I'm like, there's no way Wes Ruff watches Bill Maher.
I like Bill Maher.
Okay.
I was watching Bill Marcroft, and it dawned on me that was his job.
Okay.
Because I was so dumb. I was in college, and I was so dumb that I thought that people on TV had real jobs during the day and would go in at night and do that for fun. Because I would have done it for fun.
Sure, yeah.
And then I thought, wait, if that's his job, I wonder if you can major in it. I looked in my college curriculum, found a broadcast major, went down and changed my major the next day.
Really?
Yep.
That was, interesting. Yep. Did you go to BYU?
I started at Southern Utah State College, which is now Southern Utah University.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
I was down there I had a golf scholarship from the Utah Golf Association.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I was a good golfer.
No, we're going to talk golf, Wes.
Yeah, that was not, it was, I was involved in some other things in high school, but I got that, and I had a half an academic scholarship, so I went down there.
Nice.
But I finished up at BYU.
Okay, very nice. So, as you know, because we actually played golf together not too long ago.
You were good.
Well, I'm a recent convert.
You got good quickly.
No, I appreciate that. You know the deal. It's simple. If you're willing to invest the time and a little bit of cash to get new clubs and take lessons, and you can walk straight and chew gum, you can improve.
That's the key.
If you can improve a little bit. But it grabbed me during COVID. I didn't play as a kid. I thought it was boring. And now I so badly wish I played as a kid, because no matter how much I practice or play, I'll never catch up with the guys that played starting when they were young.
That is absolutely correct. And I was lucky because my dad was like, you hated golf, thought it was boring, but he went a couple of times, and then he accidentally got a hole-in-one.
Yeah.
It wasn't an accident.
Accidentally,
got a hole-in-one, and then suddenly hey, we're playing golf.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He gave me his set of clubs and bought another set of clubs for my brother. We started going, then my mom started going, and my mom ended up being club champion at Spanish Fork and at Payson for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And we would go every night. So I started when I was 10, 11 years old.
Okay. What's your home track now?
I keep my handicap card at Hobble Creek.
I
grew up in Springville. I don't live there anymore. They kicked me out a long time ago. But Hobble's my home course.
That is such a great golf course.
Best.
I always forget. And I actually, last weekend, because if you're not on at 8 a.m. a week before when the Salt Lake course is open, you are screwed. Yeah. So we were without a tee time. I looked at when I could get a hobble time, and I was 10 minutes late, and boom, they're all gone.
It's that's my favorite. The best part of my job over the years has been that I get to play golf, and I've played pretty much every course in Utah. And people ask me all the time, what's your favorite course? And and there are great country clubs and great courses.
Yeah.
But my first answer is always Hobble Creek.
It's so fun.
It is my happy place.
I totally get that because you feel like you're on a different planet.
Yeah.
It's like, and look, there's so many beautiful spots in Utah.
There are. Yeah.
But you get the mountains and the trees and the rivers, and it's just, I haven't played in maybe 5 or 6 years, and I want to get back there. Do you have a standing time? Do you even have to make times anymore?
No. Well, yeah. No, I have to call. And,
Okay. Can I call and say I'm calling at the behest of Wesley Ruff?
They'd probably laugh at you. No, they've been very kind to me over the years, and I've been grateful, and obviously try not to abuse the privilege. So, but I've been down there a couple of times this year.
Nice.
I haven't played there for like a month.
Can you corroborate any of the stories of Jim McMahon playing Hobble Creek without his clothing on? Tell me you've heard that rumor.
I've heard all those rumors.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was in college, McMahon used to come over. When I first got married, we were in a little apartment, and there were some guys on the baseball team that were in an apartment just down from us, and McMahon was always over hanging with those guys.
Nice,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I saw some stuff.
Yeah.
But, I don't know if that how accurate that was.
I just want to choose to believe that that's true.
Oh, yeah.
That you go to Hobble Creek and suddenly McMahon is there with no clothes on, trying to rope a 3-wood on a par 5 or something.
I was there when waiting to tee off on a hole when Lavelle Edwards was on another hole. Walked over and said, "Hey Wes, I want to introduce you to this guy I'm playing with. It's Herm."
Edwards?
No, the guy that was the head coach for Remember the Titans.
Oh, Herman Boone. Yeah, that's right. That's cool.
The real Herman Boone.
That's so cool.
He was golfing with Lavelle at Hobble Creek, so that was awesome.
You've been able to kind of carve out this piece of real estate in our market as like the media golf guy.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do it, too.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
no, it's really cool.
And I'm lucky, and I feel bad because since I retired yesterday, I don't know who's going to do that.
It should still be you.
Well, yeah, hopefully I will still be involved in golf with Fairways Magazine with Randy Dodson.
Yeah. Shout out, Randy.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go play Randy.
Yep.
I'm actually playing with him tomorrow.
Nice. Very nice.
But, yeah, I don't know who else is going to pick up the mantle in television and cover golf.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we'll use you. If you want to come on this show, we'll use you as a – because I try to identify areas. Like I'll have people all the time because, look, sports talk radio fans in this state, a lot of them it's football, basketball, and that's it.
Yep.
But for the first time last year, the Gallup poll indicated football is the most popular sport in our country, and it probably always will be. Basketball is still 2, but soccer is 3.
Wow.
So baseball is 4, hockey 5, and golf is 6. But golf is the fastest rising space. So I'm fine covering anything that I sense is growing. And I have a dashboard I can look at my interviews, and people listen to the golf stuff we do.
Really?
It's such a growing ecosystem. Tell me how you've kind of experienced the growth of the game over the past 5 years.
Well, not unlike – I mean, I've been playing my whole life, right, since I was 10, 11 years old. So I've always been involved in it. But I see what you're talking about with you, that during COVID – I mean, COVID sucked for a lot of things, but it was great for the game of golf.
Yes, it was.
And not so great for people like me who was golfing before.
Yeah.
Because now we can't get tee times.
Exactly.
Everything. Country clubs are full now. They were 8-9 years ago. They were giving away memberships.
Yeah.
At some of the courses, they were like, "Hey, if you pay your dues, you're in. You just paid monthly dues."
Yep.
Now, you got to
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
For the membership fee. But so golf just. I see what happened with COVID. People like you that just joined the game because it was one of the things you could do outside.
Yeah.
And the game just took off. But I was always covered it. Always loved it. Would look for stories to do on the air that were golf related.
Yeah, and you always did that because I'm a watcher. You know, one of the things I like to do to kind of end my week and prepare for the week is watch all of our local stuff. Yeah. And you and Dana, you have always done a great job of making sure golf is included in the conversation. And then what I like about the show you guys did is very data-driven. So I would always pick up certain things that I could use throughout the week. But you always made it a point to make sure you were covering the game. And I'm sure part of that was so you could play it from time to time a little bit, would be my guess.
No, that was never it. I like playing, and I enjoy the people, the golfers. And I've got to meet a lot of them. I caddied for Mike Reed in Japan. At a tournament, I caddied for Mike Weir at the LA Open.
Nice.
For a story. Those guys have been great to me. Dan Forsman, one of the classiest guys you will ever meet. And Keith Clearwater. So I met those guys a long time ago and became friends with them. And now, the Danny Summerhases, the Tony Finaus, the Zach Blairs. Covered those guys since they were kids coming up.
Yeah.
And it's been awesome. The last story I did on the air, yesterday was kind of a Father's Day story with Tony Finau.
Yeah.
His son, Strace, just qualified for the Utah State Am.
Awesome.
Ironically, 20 years after his dad won, and it's going to be at the same place at Soldier Hollow.
Yeah.
And I got a hold of Tony, and he wrote me back and said, "Hey, I got some time. You want to do an interview?" I'm like, "Let's go." So that was my last story that I did yesterday.
I love that.
Yeah, I did too.
If you would like to share Tony's information with us, we would love to have Tony Finau on the program.
I misplaced that. I had it, but I love it.
Fair enough. See if you can dig that up. It's interesting like I said, when I was a kid, I thought it was boring. My grandfather loved it. I honestly think it extended his life, to be honest with you.
Probably.
He got into it after he kind of exited his career in business. He joined Oak Ridge, and he was there 5 days a week for 30 or 40 years, 13 holes in one.
Jeez.
But I do believe 8 are on the same hole, which I'm kind of like, Grandpa,
My dad has 2 on the same hole, and my mom has 2 on the same hole.
Love it. I mean, look.
I have 1, and it's on the same hole.
You do? Wait, where's yours? Is it Hobble?
No, it was at the Homestead.
Okay.
And I didn't see it.
Love that course.
It was kind of that uphill hole across the road.
Okay.
They keep rerouting it, and now it's Homestead shut down, and they're completely changing
Yeah.
it. I think it was number 2.
Okay.
And so it was kind of an uphill hole. I didn't see the ball go in.
When are they going to reopen? I stayed up there like a month ago, and it looked like they've got a lot of work to do. Yeah.
That is just not. It's supposed to be next year.
Oh, next year?
I think so.
Good. I hope so.
Yeah, Jeremy Ranch is shut down. Same thing.
Yeah.
Homestead shut down. And
Yeah.
next year, Glen Wild is going to be shut down.
Yeah.
They're redoing a lot of stuff up there.
Well, I guess capitalize on the moment,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's kind
wanna
of the ecosystem. Here's my deal. Okay, it's growing. You raised rates, fine, but keep it moving, man. Because the other thing because my grandpa always said to me, "You should play this. You can be good at this. You should try it." And then I would go, I'm like, "This is boring," but he would always say, "I don't care if you're good or bad. You keep it moving."
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that a lot. My mom and dad would play rounds. After he retired, they'd play down at Gladstand
Nice.
in Payson. And do you know why it's called Gladstand?
I do no idea.
No one does.
Oh, really?
Only smart people do. But
Yeah.
the old course in Payson was a little 9-hole course that was owned by the Wilsons.
Okay.
They donated their farmland, and in fact, the clubhouse was a house that was on the farmland, and they just made a little 9-hole course. And then when they built a new course, they named it after the Wilsons, Gladys and Stanley Wilson.
Oh, wow.
And Stanley had passed away, but
Okay.
Gladys hit the first ceremonial shot.
Awesome.
Up at the new course.
And that's where your parents would play.
They'd play there.
Very cool.
At the end. So what was the question?
Well, I was we were discussing the dynamic of keep it moving.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
my mom and dad would play 18 holes in 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
complain that it took them that long. But they'd walk out, they'd hit the ball, they didn't mess around, and mom was just straight down the fairway, so it's like they never had to look for their golf balls.
Yeah.
But they just played quickly.
Yeah.
And there's no reason not to play fast.
Right. Right.
I really hate slow play.
Yeah,
I hate it.
And if it's frustrating for me, I can't imagine how frustrating it must be for you, because I'm now in the space like, well, I've been doing this for 5 years now. Stop making tee times and keep it moving. My idea, no double dates, or we allocate double date day to like Nibley on Wednesday or something. Like no double dates. And if you're just learning how to play, learn on the range. And when you're out playing, don't be afraid to pick your ball up and keep going.
I like. Then there's a little small 9-hole kind of an executive course, golf in the round.
Yes.
We need more courses like that for beginners to play.
For
have
sure.
A chance to play.
Yeah.
I like that. What I hate are people that go to nice courses, think they're good, go from the black tees, can't hit it out of their shadow, but they're going to play. They want the whole experience, right? We're going to play from the tips.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't get that.
Is that you, Porter?
Maybe. Plead the fifth.
Porter is a well-known club thrower and club breaker, aren't you?
I see him at
I don't know
our
about
meetings.
well known, but
I see him at our meetings.
Yeah, yeah. That's the other thing that I've kind of noticed as far as, you're not good enough to get angry, right? I had somebody say that to me.
I love that saying.
Early on. I am a club thrower. I'm reformed. Okay, I'm in recovery. I'm a former club thrower in recovery, because I realized, like, when I first started to love it, I'm like, man, this is so fun and it's so challenging. And I hadn't had a competitive outlet, quite frankly, since I stopped playing 5-on-5 basketball, which is a long time ago because I'm old. And so it gripped me, as it does, right? So I got some clubs, started taking lessons, started to improve a little bit, and then went the other way because it's such a wild ride. and was like breaking clubs, and there's an economic impact there. But I had a buddy say, "You're not good enough to act like this." And it really kind of resonated. And I'm proud to say, Porter, I know you're not going to believe me. It's been 2.5 years since I broke a club.
I am proud.
Thank you.
It's been a minute since I have, but yeah, I used to throw them too. It is just so frustrating, right?
Yeah.
And you hit a bad shot, and you're standing there with that stupid club in your hand, and what else are you going to do, right? But no, I hate slow play. I just think you can keep it moving. The date night thing, I like what the Timpanogos golf course has done. They have that 9-hole course that's lit up at night, so you can go on a date and go play that little 9-hole. Carry your clubs and go on a date. Yeah, do that.
Yeah,
that's great.
What's your advice for men out there who go? Because I ran into this actually Saturday. There was a foursome in front of us. It was a double date. You could tell that the two young ladies, bless their heart, had never played before. And then, as they were encouraged to maybe pick their ball up, they're launching into their partners. Like, if you don't teach me how to play, I'm never going to learn.
Really?
Taking multiple practice swings. What's your advice for the men out there who have their partners who badly want to learn but have never played before, and they're looking back at us knowing the deal? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Learn on the range.
Yeah.
That's where you should learn how. And that's kind of why I like golf in the Top Golf. Places like Top Golf.
Yeah.
For that generation who can't stand to spend 5 hours on a golf course because their attention span's not that long.
Yeah.
Places like that are great.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you kind of learn. And people who are just starting can, this is kind of fun because we can play a little game here. It's not, life and death. So, yeah, if I was going on a date, that's the place you'd go.
There you go. The other thing you mentioned is like the quality of the people in the community, which caught me off guard because I think most people that don't know, like, golf is known as an elitist sport, right? And like, if you don't do this or that, or if you show up and your shirt's not tucked in, someone is going to drive up to you and tell you can never come here again. And I did play in my first mid-am qualifier. It did not go well. I learned a lot of rules that I didn't know. Hit a provisional if you think your shot's out of bounds or you're driving back to the tee box, which I did 4 times.
And that takes time.
I carded a 10 and a 9 on back-to-back holes.
Wow.
It was brutal.
What course?
It was down in St. George. Oh, man, Green Springs.
Green Spring?
Tough track.
Yeah, no, it is.
Narrow.
Yes.
I had never played there before. Yeah. Elliot Fall, who's the former general manager of RSL, is like a scratch golfer, but he's a coward. And he didn't want to play alone. He's like, your handicap will let you play in this, so just sign up for it. So I figured I'd try it. Did not go well, but everybody was like really, really nice.
Good.
I was afraid they'd be like, what is this idiot doing here? Because I was playing with a 34-year-old ex-BYU player and a 26-year-old ex-Utah player. And if I get my driver, I can get you about 280.
No, you hit it hard.
If I get it, right? These guys weren't even stopping to look at my ball, right? And so I'm like overcome with embarrassment, but they were just, everyone's really nice at these events.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a story about one of my big blow-up holes?
Yes, please do.
I was invited by the Utah Section PGA to play in the Utah Open one year.
Nice.
At Talon's Cove.
Okay.
And it was the first year they started doing online scoring. So on a hole, I believe it was my 18th hole, but it was number 9, the 9th hole. And I hit a drive right. Had to do what you said, hit a provisional. Went out there, found my first one, but it was unplayable, so I had to take a drop, penalty stroke, hit the next one left, out of bounds, hit another shot short, left the next one short, chipped up, 2 or 3 putted, took a 10.
Oh.
Brutal. Right?
Yeah.
So I walk into the parking lot, and a guy comes out from the clubhouse and said, "Hey, thanks, Wes." And I said, "Thanks for what?" And he goes, "I'm in charge of the scoring, and we didn't know this new system. We didn't know how to enter double-digit scores onto a hole. So when you got that 10, we had to figure it out. So thank you."
You're the guy that broke the seal.
Here's an idea.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah, and by the way, I don't love that scores are publicly available because I showed up to do the show the Monday, or actually the qualifier was Monday, so I took Monday off, and then I came to do the show on Tuesday, and we open up the text line, and everyone's like, "Hey, is the Spence Checketts who doing your afternoon show the one that just posted this massive score in the qualifier?" I'm like, "Don't stop looking at my scores."
Yeah, that is bad on events like that. What's your handicap now?
So it's an 8.5.
That's awesome.
I was down to a 6.3.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't play as much as I was before. Actually, I tore my meniscus, tore a rotator cuff and sublexed a rib in like 6 months, and it's because I was playing way too much golf. So now I mainly play on the weekends. I do try to get out and hit balls once during the week. So yeah, I'm down to about an 8.5, which is fine.
No, it's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
an 8.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever been down to a 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I
7 something once.
I remember I had a stretch of, I think, 6 rounds where it was between 75 and 79. And I said, now I live here.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
Rented it.
You
rented it for a while.
I did. And I can still get you that out of 77 at Glendale over the weekend, but I also have a 90 in me, as I discovered a couple of weeks ago at Bonneville.
My game is more consistent. I can't go deep. I've never been able to shoot low numbers. I've never shot under par for 18 holes.
Okay.
I've done it for 9 holes
Yeah.
a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But I've never, in fact, I think the best round I've ever had was an even par round.
Okay.
And I 3-putted the last hole to do that.
Oh, wow.
That hurt.
Yeah.
But mostly I shoot, 7, 8 over par.
Yeah.
And I normally don't have blow up rounds, but I don't go deep. So I'm just kind of in that gray area.
Yeah, I feel like whenever we play in the media tournaments, you can count on a West Rough like 80, 81.
It's 78.
Yeah,
70,
which
yeah,
is
right
good.
there.
It's solid. Yeah, I had 4 birdies on the back 9 at Glendale, which I'd never done before. I think I went 42-35.
Nice.
I think 35 is the best 9-hole score I've had. So, look, I loved it. I could talk golf all day. I wish my grandpa was still with us because he would be very proud of me, but rest in peace, Lowell Leishman. All right, Wes Ruff is live in studio. You sent out a social media post that I'm going to call you out on coming up next.
Uh-oh.
Now, all I'm going to say is this: you should know better. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do during the break, but I want to let you know you can make it a summer of live at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. Get 4 lawn tickets for just $99 and see. Let's see, Cali Ukis. No idea. The Black Crows, Whiskey Myers. That's a good one. And Porter's pumped with. We got Train and Bare Naked Ladies.
I love Bare Naked Ladies.
Wes, of course you do.
My favorite group.
Don't say that out loud.
I love them.
Do you love Train?
Caliucci, by the way.
Caliucci?
Caliucci's.
Do you love Train?
No, I don't know much Train, but I went on a cruise with Bare Naked Ladies. Seriously.
We're blowing
many
out the
of them?
rundown. That's all we're doing next segment. I want to hear about Wes Ruff on a cruise with Bare Naked Ladies, the band. Okay, let's be clear. Train and Bare Naked Ladies are August the 19th. Block out your calendar. Visit livenation.com/summer of 5 for tickets. More with my friend Wesley Ruff coming up next on ESPN 700. avid golfer and president of the Bare Naked Ladies fan club here in Salt Lake City. Wesley Ruff is live in studio. Obviously you've been in media forever because you gave us an excellent tease. You went on a cruise once with the Bare Naked Ladies, the band. Let's be clear. Let's keep it above board. I got to hear about this.
Okay, so bands do that now. They have cruises.
Yeah.
And there were like 8 different bands or 7 different bands, but they were the headliner on the ship.
Okay.
And so I took my wife, Sue, and it was great. It was like a week-long cruise down in the Caribbean, and you're on the ship with them. Like you're standing in the food line talking. You can just talk to them, and they had other bands, and it was great.
Huh.
It was a great time. The other band that was on that was so cool was a group called Gaelic Storm.
Okay.
And they were a little Irish band playing in a pub in L.A. when some guy came up to him and said, hey, we're making a movie. We need an Irish band in the movie. Do you want to be in the movie? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they said, okay, who's your agent? And they said, we don't have an agent. He said, well, who's your manager? And they said, we don't have a manager.
Huh.
And the guy goes, well, okay. Well, the movie's going to be Titanic. It's called Titanic. So if you want to be – they were in it. They were the band that was in steerage playing just when they hit the iceberg.
Wow, yeah,
that was
yeah.
them.
Oh, my gosh.
They come to Utah. They've been to Utah several times.
Very cool.
That was a fun – but, yeah, the Bare Naked Ladies are great.
Okay. Now – I'm going to hesitate to join you in the Bare Naked Ladies Great Fan Club. But like I said, fun band.
Yeah.
Music is – discretion is important. Like what you like.
Yeah.
It's not a –
Yeah, we were up last year. We went, Sue and I went to the concert up at Red Butte. When
yes.
they were here.
Yeah.
Been a couple of times to see him up there. So.
Yeah, we have a running joke on my friend thread right now because I told you one of my friends loves them. And so it's just like easy to take shots at him. But, hey, like I said, music, you like what you like. Bottom line, shout out Sue. Is Sue thrilled with the retirement? It's like, what am I going to do with this guy?
I think she might be a little concerned about how I'm going to pay for things.
Sure.
Because, the TV industry, everybody thinks you make a lot of money. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't make any money.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
make any money at all.
Yeah, they think it's glamorous and everyone's rich and famous.
That's
and
not the case.
Yeah, I can remember the first day of my father's retirement, and there were 6 of us. I'm the oldest of 6. And my mother very much held the house down because my dad traveled a lot, was always gone for work. So we had a set schedule. Back then it was like seminaries at 6 a.m. because you go back east, early seminary. School starts, so we got breakfast. So my dad comes walking down. He's like, so what's the deal? My mom's like, we got a thing going on here, okay? Sorry you haven't been around for a minute, Dave, but we've got a system. Don't get in the way, okay? Awesome. So it's kind of funny when you see people move on to the next phase in life, and hopefully the next phase of your life includes a lot of golf and a lot of success. But I teased this during the break. I told you what I was going to ask you about. Yep. As a man who covered the Utah Jazz in the NBA Finals in 1997, 1998, your social media post was about the Mammoth playoff game having the best atmosphere you had ever seen. Please explain.
I just thought it was correct. I like hockey. My sons both played hockey, so I like hockey. And my oldest son, Casey, is still just way into hockey, loves the Mammoth, loves everything about them. And they're a fun team to cover.
Yep.
All great guys.
Yep.
Really good guys.
Yep.
And just being in making the playoffs for the first time, and that adrenaline, and it brought me back to when the Jazz first started making the playoffs. And my favorite playoff series with the Jazz, obviously the NBA Finals in 97, 98 were great, but for me, the 1988 Western Conference semifinals against the Lakers, when the Jazz were up 2-1 and then tied 3-3, lost in a Game 7, that was the best because it was just they're coming of age. It's the first time they've been in that situation, and loved it, loved covering that, loved everything about it, loved the excitement. And this kind of felt like that to me. But again, the crowd for the Mammoth seems different than the crowd for the Jazz.
Totally agree with that. Yeah.
And they were just so amped and so into it, and it had been a minute since the Jazz had been in the playoffs. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
So just to have a playoff atmosphere, have these people who are just die-hard hockey fans. You go to a hockey game and 90% of the people are in hockey jerseys.
Yep.
You go to a Jazz game and there might be 7 or 8 people in the jersey.
Yeah.
It's just it's a whole different atmosphere.
It is. And hockey fans are just different. Hockey players are just different. Yeah. After the home opener, the most hilarious headline was the record for beer drinking broken in the Delta Center. And a lot of people said, well, yeah, the Jazz have only played. No, they've had concerts over the years, like hardcore party bands, and hockey fans showed up and they're like, watch this, and just broke the record. Great. I'll tell you one of the other things I've always appreciated about you over the past few years. You and I have been of the same mind. When I watch your show, there's too much complacency as it pertains to what the Jazz have been doing. And you've always said on your show, go get a player.
Yeah.
You've got all these draft assets. Fans don't cheer for draft assets. So go get a player. Let's get this thing going. And they finally are. Yeah. So what do you think we're going to see from the Jazz tomorrow night in the draft, and what do you think we're going to see next year?
I don't know that it matters who they pick in the draft. I think the team, if they can keep Walker Kessler, I think that team, regardless of what rookie comes to join them, I think that team that they have can make the playoffs this coming season. Yeah. I think whoever they add hopefully will help them in that and be the cornerstone of the franchise moving forward. But I'm so disappointed with the way they tried to do it, rigging the system, and they should have just told the fans, look, we're gonna tank for a couple of years. If you want to come watch these guys play, then we'll charge you half price tickets. They should have done that. But to keep raising tickets and not try to win. Yeah. I mean, you grew up with John and Carl and Frank and Jerry. Yeah. Can you imagine telling Jerry Sloan that he's not going to win a game? Yeah. I mean,
yeah, no, for sure.
That's not going to happen ever.
And look, I know Will Hardy has been kept in the loop, and they've given him a couple of extensions, so he's going to have this big runway. But I've asked Gordy and Smitty and all of our Jazz guests, like, can you imagine if Larry Miller walked into Jerry Sloan's coach's office and said, hey, Jerry, we're not going to try to win this year. So, I mean, can you imagine? No. It would have not even registered in his brain.
No, Jerry would have thrown Larry out.
Right.
Even though it was Larry's team.
Yes.
And Jerry knew that.
Right.
But Jerry would have thrown Larry out.
Right.
Or said, go get another coach because I'm not doing that.
And even if Larry said, well, we're going to give you a contract extension, Jerry would be like, I don't care about that. Like, it's counter to everything that this is supposed to be about.
I agree.
I also acknowledge why the incentive structure of the NBA mandates you have to be delicate about your approach. But it's kind of like these things that have happened in the ecosystem of sport, like Brendan Sorsby is caught gambling on college football, and for a minute he was going to be allowed to play college football. Ultimately, whether it's tanking in the NBA or gambling that's widespread across the landscape of sport, it's the one fear that I was raised with as it pertains to what the Board of Governors and the commissioners and everybody involved in sport believes, and that is if our consumer believes our product is compromised, they're going to tune out.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I believe that wholeheartedly. I was surprised the number of fans that were still showing up at Jazz games in the last couple of years. But, yeah, and getting back to that asset thing, assets do you no good until you use them.
Yeah.
And the Jazz had enough draft picks. They could have taken 2 or 3 picks in the future and traded and got a guy and said, let's go. Let's go now. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say who it was, but a Jazz person, I think it was off the record, one of the hierarchy people said that they had been offered an all-star a couple of years ago an all-star at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
But he was an aging superstar.
Mm-hmm.
He was outside their window.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to win on a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought at the time, what's wrong with winning on a one-off? You can't tell me that the Utah Jazz fans wouldn't lose their minds to win one championship.
Yeah.
They'd go crazy.
Absolutely.
So that bugged me. And then I thought, well, if he's outside the team, outside your window, what team in the right mind is going to trade young superstar? Oh, wait, you guys did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You gave away Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert.
Yep.
So I knew then that I was in trouble.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because, I worked over there for 7.5 years, so I was at every game every night.
Yep.
And because of that, I'm not highly motivated to go to every game every night, but I do feel like with this job, I want to get down there to show my face and show that I'm doing my job to try to build relationships and such. It's been hard to get motivated to go down there for a couple reasons. A, they're unserious about competing, and B, the Lakers in town, but LeBron's not here or whatever, like that stuff. So I made it a point towards the end of the year last season to get down to the Delta Center for a few games, and I saw a lot of my old friends, and you could tell this 4-year process has drained everybody. I mean, I'm talking about ushers that I used to talk to, and front office people, ticket people, marketing, like everyone's just like already looking towards this season because of how draining this has been on the entire organization.
I agree. And didn't you ever ask them what the difference was as ushers? Because I have, with the Jazz and the Mammoth.
No, I'd be interested.
They were like, oh, holy crap, the Mammoth are great. They'll talk to us and say, hey, thanks for being here. And they're great, and the games are exciting. And the Jazz players, by and large, don't talk to them, don't even acknowledge that they're in the building.
Yep.
And then the product on the court has not been good.
Yeah.
So it's like they work both games, and it's night and day. They said they 2-1 or 10-1 rather work a Mammoth game.
Yeah, the hockey culture is different. I knew it would resonate here because
I didn't.
Really?
I didn't.
As a hockey guy?
Yes.
Interesting.
Because the Golden Eagles had that there's a hardcore base, right?
That's right.
Of about
Yeah.
5,000, 6,000
Yeah.
people.
Mm-hmm.
But they did horrible with walk-up traffic. Like nobody would say, "Hey, I'm going to go. Hey, what are we doing on Friday? Oh, let's go to a hockey game." That didn't happen. There was a hardcore group of fans that would go every game, and that was it.
Interesting.
And I knew they would have more because of the NHL factor, but I was surprised at how quickly the Mammoth ended up with a huge fan base.
Yeah, for me, I don't know how much of it was timing juxtaposed to what the Jazz were doing, but I really feel like as Utah sports fans, we don't want a ton. Everyone wants to win, okay? Everybody wants to win. So don't be like, we like winners. Everybody likes winners. But we do want you to show up and give us an honest effort. And that's embedded in the hockey culture. Whereas an NBA player might take a month off with a hammy, a hockey player will take a puck to his jaw in the second period, go get 40 stitches, and play in the third period.
Play, yep.
You know,
I love that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's exactly why you want to watch a game and show up to a game, because the team you cheer for, if you're a hockey fan, the Mammoth are going to show up every night and give you an honest effort.
Yeah, you put that well. I like that a lot. That's right. You hit that on the head. That's a reason that fans are just into it, and this is. Both these teams are called Utah Mammoth, Utah Jazz, and it's our state's teams, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the Mammoth did the right thing by not naming it the Salt Lake team, and because it belongs to the state, and everybody, like you said, everybody wants their team to do well.
Yeah.
And everybody in the state, whether you're a BYU fan, whether you're a Utah fan or Utah State fan, everybody gets behind the Jazz, and now gets behind the Mammoth. And I love that. So try to win.
Tell me how you've seen this place grow as far as a sporting culture is concerned. I mean, Rob Manfred has said MLB is not expanding until 2029, but when they do, the Millers are ready. I mean, Steve Starks joined me in studio right after that announcement, showed me the plans. Like, it is shovel in dirt, let's go. RSL, I mean, the World Cup's going on right now, so soccer's kind of top of mind as far as interest. Soccer people will tell you we're good with our real estate. We're fine. We don't need you. Okay, so RSL is a part of our market. They did win a trophy, and obviously with my ties to the club, I cover them heavily. Hockey, basketball, college football here is booming. How have you seen our sports ecosystem grow in your 40-plus years?
It's grown crazy. It's out of control, and I worry about the sports market in this state becoming fragmented because I don't know that there's enough money to support everything if Major League Baseball comes, you've got baseball, you've got soccer, you've got basketball, you've got football, and all the colleges, all the teams at each of those colleges. How does a fan, and the prices just keep going up, how does a fan be able to afford to go to those games?
Yeah.
I mean, when you were a kid, you knew a lot of the season ticket holders for Jazz, right?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know of any season ticket. I know companies that own tickets, but I don't know any fans that, like, hey, we've got tickets. Mm-hmm. It's changed. It's now big money and corporations, and I guess a lot of businesses are using it to wine and dine clients, taking them to a Jazz game or a Mammoth game. So that's changed. But I worry about if this market is going to be able to support that many teams and that many college teams.
Yeah, shout out to the, I think it was the Zions Bank 100 Club back in the day, the 100 Jazz season ticket holders. And, the other thing that's going to start to happen, and it's already started to happen, college football has moved into this professional space, and Utah Athletics just signed a massive deal with a private equity company, and the deal is now signed. Mark Harlan joined us last week, and Mark was very transparent about what I perceive to be an undeniable reality, which is this. I have a brother in private equity. I have friends in private equity. They are all sharks. The one goal for them is to make money. These guys in New York don't care about Bob in marketing at the U that has 3 kids and a mortgage. Therefore, we see staff laid off. What they do is they find an asset, a distressed asset with potential, infuse it with capital, and then they say, okay, in 5 to 8 years, we're getting all of that back and then 8 to 10%, just so you know. That's the deal. So, we've seen announcements that the Huntsman Center is going to be renovated, and I love the Huntsman Center, but, can we do better than a stale hot dog and a glass of water? Obviously, that needs it. I'm of the opinion that Rice-Eccles Stadium is going to get a facelift, bunker suites and such. We're going to see improved concessions. We're going to see improvements around the stadium itself. And guess what that means? You as the consumer will be asked to pay more for your experience. And if you're a corporate sponsor, be prepared for a phone call from somebody at Utah Athletics to say, hey, that signage that cost you $200,000 last year, it's $500,000 this year. Like, the prices will continue to go up. Yeah. There's no doubt.
At what cost? I mean, it's like being a member at a country club, right? You're a member of a country club, but if they decide that they want to put new carpet in the dining room or they want to remove a bunker on the 17th hole, you're paying for it.
Yep.
You know, on top of what you're paying for your membership and your monthly dues, you get an assessment.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen with these guys. And you're absolutely right. I saw it in television. We had a couple of owners that came in and bought TV stations, equity firms, investment firms that just wanted to gut the place, hold it for 5 years, and then sell it. Mm-hmm. That's all they. And our product suffered because of it.
Yep.
And I think their product's going to suffer because of it. How, like you said, how is this guy? People in New York, they don't care what's going on here.
Nope.
They just look at the bottom line.
Yeah. Yep. No, they do. I wonder, a few minutes left here, then we'll set you loose so you can go hit some balls, Wes.
Awesome.
Because we talk about this quite a bit, but I've never had this conversation with you. And the other thing that has changed in our space, I don't know if COVID did this because everyone became comfortable with Zoom calls. Like, once upon a time, I can remember being a kid and jumping on the Jazz plane with my father and Brad Rock sitting there. On the Jazz charter, and writers and media members traveled. They knew the coaches. They knew the players. Access these days, and yes, this is me, the media member, complaining because I do believe in the fourth estate, and I do believe that it's our job to inform the fans, and I will never comfortably fall into this new media ecosystem where fans are getting credentialed because they don't say anything bad about your team and they cry on their stream when your coach leaves. Like, I think it's all so pathetic. I really do. And look, everyone wants to keep their job. So if you're a gatekeeper for the Jazz or Utah or BYU, you want to keep your job. You want to stay employed. I'm of the opinion that most of these guys don't even ask for, like if I contact somebody and say, I want to get player X or the coach, I don't think they even ask anymore.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. That is one of the, maybe one of the minor reasons I got out.
Yeah.
Why I quit, because it's the times have changed. Teams want to control the narrative now. They tell you who you can talk to and how. Like, we can't shoot one-on-one interviews anymore.
Yeah.
With Jazz.
Yeah.
We used to go to practices, and while they were warming up, you could go out on the court to Karl Malone or John Stock. Go, hey, can we get a quick interview? And they go, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And you interview them, and you get stuff that nobody else got. Now everybody gets the same interviews at a press conference with a guy that they tell you who you're talking to,
mm-hmm.
and you ask. People ask 4 or 5 questions. They're like, "Okay, yeah, you're gone. That's it."
Yeah,
and it's totally changed.
Yeah,
I miss those days of us being able to tell unique stories. And if we had an idea, like, we didn't want Steve Loom of the Tribune to hear a question that we were asking, because we didn't want our story to end up in his article.
Right.
We wanted to keep it secret.
Yeah.
We thought we had a good idea, so we'd go do the interview.
Yeah.
That day is gone.
Yeah.
COVID start. I think here, kind of, Darren Williams started it here,
mm-hmm.
because he said, I'm tired of doing interviews with everybody. Let's do one, get everybody together, and I'll do it once.
Yeah.
And then that kind of became the thing. And then COVID was Zoom interviews with whoever.
Yeah.
And that's the way of the world now.
Was it Zippy he ran down?
Yes.
Was it Zundel? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and look, social media for a lot of different people, a lot of different angles, has not necessarily been a bad thing. I think societally it is. But what YouTube has allowed, and what podcasts, like the Jazz have a YouTube channel, they have a Jazz podcast, Utah, same deal. They all have their own media outlets, but there's no authenticity and there's nothing real about it.
No, and they get the first crack at the players.
Yes.
More than, like, network affiliates like ABC4 or KSL or Channel 2 or Fox. We get the leftovers, because the first interviews are going to go to those entities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that that's right.
Yeah. Well, it's not. And I'll watch and listen. I'll be like, lies, you're lying. And there's no follow-up question, because they're just propagating the team message they want the fans to consume, and there's nothing real or true about it, which is frustrating.
I totally agree. This has always been a soft market anyway. It's not like we were going to call out Karl Malone for lying or John Stockton for not telling the truth.
Yeah.
But But at least we had access to do that, and we could ask follow-up questions.
Yes. Like doing a show with Monson for 7 years, like everyone would get so angry at Gordon. I'm like, everywhere else there are 30 Gordons.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry that he actually asked you a question that made you uncomfortable. Last thing, because I'm sorry, but I did want to get one Tony Finau thought from you, as somebody who knows him really well. We all love Tony.
Yep.
He's probably going to go down as the best golfer in the history of our state.
Yep.
3-4 years ago, he had a couple wins. This is a guy who played in the final round of the Masters with Tiger Woods in 2019. Is it health? Is it surgery? Like, why hasn't he been able to recapture that form?
A combination of things. Part of it, I think, is maybe he's got a little comfortable, right? I mean, he's making millions of dollars. How much more do you need to practice?
Sure.
You think, oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm set for the rest of my life.
Yep.
You know, that drive kind of withers away. Not saying that is the case with Tony, because I don't know, but that probably enters into it. I interviewed him Saturday for that story, and he said he still feels like his best golf is in front of him. He did have ankle surgery. Remember when he rolled his ankle at the Masters?
Yep.
He got that hole-in-one in the par 3 tournament?
Yep.
He had surgery on his other ankle.
Oh, okay.
So that was last season, the end of last season, and he struggled. He was trying to get as much status as he could and played on that longer than he should have, and then it probably took him longer to come back. So he said to me on Saturday, he said, I'm still able to play really good golf. I just can't string a tournament together right now. But he said, it's coming.
Okay.
And he's playing in the next 3 weeks. He's playing at the Travelers, the John Deere, and then going to the Scottish Open, hoping to qualify for the British Open.
Good. Wes, great to see you. Congrats on a great 40-year run.
Thanks, Spence.
Go hit some balls. We'll use you with the golf stuff if you're down to come on, okay?
And I'll see you on the course a week from Wednesday.
There you go. Hopefully it goes better this time than it did last time. The great Wes Ruff. Want to let you guys know you can join the ESPN 700 92.1 FM team along with Smitty and Gordy at the Engine Room for the 2026 NBA Draft, where the Utah Jazz have the number 2 pick. We'd love to see you tomorrow at the Engine Room at 1388 South, 300 West. 3 hours down, 1 hour to go. Keep it here on ESPN 700. Look, I like Wes Ruff, okay? So don't put me in a position where I'm making fun of a true gentleman in this business who's retired after 40 years.
Then don't.
The Bare Naked Ladies suck. They're an awful band, dude. Mm-hmm. No, it's not good. Like,
they're not great.
If you keep this playing, it gets to the part where they're talking to each other during the song about like eating little sausages or something weird.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily opposing you, but like you, big fan of Wes Ruff. So
the nicest guy. Yeah, 40 years in the business. His last broadcast was last night for our friends over at Channel 4. That was fun having him in. But yeah, we've got one buddy out of our friend group that is on this like Bare Naked Ladies rules hill, and he's going to die on the hill. And look, you could do worse. The fact that Bare Naked Ladies and Train are playing on the same night on the same stage, that is Draper Moms Unite. That is going to be 15,000 women between the age of 50 and 65 that live in Draper.
And you can get four lawn tickets to Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater.
Well, let me be clear. Shout out to Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. I mean, this is not an anti-amphitheater take. And if that's your like, I know people get angry when I criticize their music. We hear it on the text line. Your thing is your thing. Your deal is your deal. You might not like my music either. This is not me on a pedestal. But the Bare Naked, it needs to be said out loud. The Bare Naked Ladies are horrible.
Well, to your point that you just made, yeah, usually when we get on like a music train, there are a few people that are like, dude, Dave, really? And you're on this?
Yeah.
And listen,
I get it.
To each their own.
Yeah, I get it.
To each their own.
No, I actually think, and maybe it might still be a thing, that even people who really enjoy Dave Matthews Band don't want to admit in public settings that they enjoy Dave Matthews Band.
There's a little bit there.
Yeah.
But there's also a little bit where, like, Dave clearly has some great songs. But then there's, is it The Warehouse?
Careful. Yes, it is.
There's members of the crew that will, like, speak about a 27-minute jam sesh on the stage of whatever the hell it was, festival 20 years ago.
Central Park, let's be clear.
As if it
Piedmont
were...
Park, potentially.
As if it were like a monumental moment in American history.
You saw the eye of God.
Right. And it's like, oh, okay.
Look, if you can't appreciate genius, and if you can't appreciate musicianship, and quite frankly, the best drummer in the history of the world, and Carter Beauford, there's nothing I can say to you that will help you understand what it's like to be on my level. Here's my Bare Naked Ladies deal, okay?
Okay.
Do you know what EFY is? When I say EFY, does that ring a bell for you?
EFY is the young men, young women's thing?
Correct.
They do?
Yes.
Summers, I think?
So, young Spence Checketts, living back east, during the summer, I would come out here, and me and my two cousins, Chad and Jay, shout out Jay, rest in peace, we would go to Rick Majerus' basketball camp, and then we would go to Roger Reed's basketball camp.
Okay.
During Roger Reed's basketball camp down in Provo, there was an adjacent event called EFY, especially for youth. And after basketball camp was over and they were done doing whatever the hell they do during the day, there were some joint events at night where the people going to basketball camp would meet up with the people at EFY. And oftentimes there was live music. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like the Bare Naked Ladies has EFY energy.
Okay. Yeah, we had similar. It was Stu Morrill's camp.
Okay.
But they did the same thing up in Logan at one point.
Yeah.
So I get you. It was probably a different crew in the mid-2000s than it was. No Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah.
But I catch your drift.
I just feel like if you were raised in Utah County in the 80s and 90s, there's a good chance you think Bare Naked Ladies are awesome.
They're better than Imagine Dragons.
No argument there. I do not want to go to an Imagine Dragons or a Bare Naked Ladies concert. But nonetheless, Wes Ruff is a sweet guy, 40 years in the business. Fun to have him on the show today. Now, tomorrow's a big day. The Utah Jazz have the number 2 pick in the NBA draft. Want to let you know that we will be on remote. So starting at 2 o'clock, we're going to be at the engine room. So this show will broadcast live from the engine room tomorrow. So if you want to come down and say what's up, it's a new place. Look at the menu, man. The menu looks awesome. Okay, so it's 1388 South, 300 West. It's right by the old ballpark. And I can tease that we will have $25 gift cards available for the first 25 people that come in and dine there. You can't do the thing where you're one of the people that listen to radio stations and hear about a giveaway and then drive straight there and get a gift card and go home and try to sell it on eBay for $21.
No one does that.
Everyone does that. You're not allowed to do that thing. You can't show up and be like, hey, heard about a $25 gift card. Grab it and leave. Come eat with us. Come hang out. The first 25 people that plan on having a meal at Engine Room, we're going to hook you up with a $25 gift card, which essentially gets you a free meal. Very good place. So starting at 2 o'clock, come on down to the Engine Room at 1388 South, 300 West. If you have a job like most normal people and you cannot join us starting at 2 o'clock, well, join us starting at 6 o'clock for our NBA draft coverage. Myself, Gordy Chiesa, Richard Smith, Sean O'Connell, all four of us are going to be down there. So if you've ever wanted to meet Sean or Gordy or Smitty, it's going to be a great time. So come hang out. France and Iraq delayed a weather delay in Philadelphia. World Cup going on. Lionel Messi scored a brace, soccer term, 2 goals in the 2-0 win for Argentina over Austria. We've got a little Norway-Senegal coming up, a little Jordan-Algeria coming up. Are you one who believes that the U.S. men's national team actually has a chance to win this thing? The hype train is rather large right now.
I want to believe. I would love that would be a possibility. I don't follow soccer enough to give you a real analysis on this, on where they may be deficient, where they may be a contender. What I will say is that it is very clear when you watch teams like France, Argentina, a few others, that they don't have that guy. Right, they don't have an Mbappe, they don't have a Leo, they don't have the type of player that really makes that kind of difference. Now, they have looked like more of a unit than we have seen a U.S. men's national team look in a very long time. And just having watched the Knicks do what they did, hey, maybe there's a chance. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to, at some point, here's the other part. They have a really good path, right, as far as who they'll play, the opponents. But if you get to a semifinal or you get to a final, you are going to have to match up with one of those guys. And I would say it would be less than likely that they get past one of those guys. But we've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's still a lot that needs to kind of unfold, but the most likely path as of now, should the U.S. men's national team win their group, is Bosnia during the round of 32 and then Egypt during the round of 16. Now, Egypt has Mo Salah, who's one of the best players in the world, but my guess would be the U.S. men's national team would be the favorite in both those matches, but then you get to the quarters where it will be a Germany or a France or an Argentina or a team like that. And then you'd have to make history, like literally make history just to get to the semifinal, which they haven't done since 2002.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. It's about as much in depth as I can honestly go when it comes to the sport of football. But again, it's a team that looks like a more cohesive unit and looks like they have premier world elite athletes on the team and on the roster. So I'm not shutting the door on it, at least not on appearing there, on making something special happen. But I think, as you would expect, even if you are a very optimistic U.S. soccer fan, it'll be an uphill battle.
Also, before we close the show for a Monday, 4 years, $212 million is a lot for Trae Young.
A lot.
I don't know that I mean, we always do this where it's like, would you pay Rudy? Well, okay, what's the alternative? You got to trade him. Washington has been so bad for so long that I get why you got to pay the price, the market price for the guy. But 4 years, $212 million for Trae Young is almost bad business.
And I like a lot of the things he brings to the floor. I like his playmaking. He's a great shooter, great floor spacer. He tries on defense, but he's smaller than me. So there's a limitation there for a Trae Young. Now, we did just watch Jalen Brunson win an NBA title being the best player on the floor. So there is some, I think, people being prisoner of the moment with that, thinking, oh, maybe a small guard can do this. Nah, that's going to be an outlier, and it's going to be an outlier for a long time. Trae just, for every 45 points that he may create on a night in, night out basis, the guards on the other team are going to go at him every time down the floor. The bigs are going to try to get him to switch onto them every time down the floor, and he will oftentimes give up that 40 points that he just got you. So it's tough. Personally, I wouldn't be on board with it, but I do not work for the Washington Wizards.
Also, a very unfortunate hairline for Trae Young. Poor guy.
This is true.
Got to mix in more hats. I do believe that A.J. DeBonce is off the board at 1, and I do believe the Utah Jazz will draft Darren Peterson at 2.
That's the other part.
Yeah.
They're not going to draft Darren Peterson after they just signed him to that deal.
That would be my guess. I do think there's a slight chance that Cameron Boozer is the pick at number 2, but I ain't a betting man. If I was, I would say the Utah Jazz will draft Darren Peterson tomorrow night. But make sure you join us for our draft night coverage. I can promise you it's going to be the best that you can find in the market and some of the best you'll find anywhere. And Gordy and Smitty, I mean, it's going to be great. Sean will be down there. We'll be at the Engine Room, which, again, is 1388 South, 300 West. First 25 diners, which means you have to eat there. We'll give you a $25 gift card to come hang out with us at the Engine Room. Porter, what's coming up live at the Engine Room on a Tuesday show?
Tuesday edition of The Drive. We'll get it started on an NBA draft day with Tim Band McMahon for your daily assist. James Barlow stops by the program from your NBA Big Board. And then with us being on site at the Engine Room, likelihood of making our friend Gordy or Smitty stop by in person, maybe even an appearance from Sean O'Connell, and a little World Cup action as well, and we'll go from there on Tuesday.
There you go. So join us for a Tuesday show, again, live from the Engine Room here in Salt Lake City. Special thank you today to John Wright, Craig Bolerjack, Bobby Marks, and Wes Ruff. If you miss any of the sound from the show, go to the website. It's ESPN700sports.com. Download the mobile app and take us on the go. That ESPN 700 app is available in the App Store and the Google Play Store for free. And then finally, for what we do in our space every afternoon for 4 hours, check out our podcast page. It's called The Drive with Spence Checketts. It's available wherever you get your shows. For Porter, I'm Spence saying goodnight. Have a great Monday evening. We'll talk to you on a Tuesday Drive live from the Engine Room right here on ESPN 700.